late, but no big deal. So what's the first actual muscle car? What is that car? There is a car that sort of defined the muscle car, the era of it. Give me what that is, and or what your favorite muscle car of all time is. Now, we haven't done this for quite some time, but I want to know what's your favorite muscle car. And some of you are saying, well, okay, John, why are we talking about that today? Well, as some of you might know, this past week, we had a driving event here in Colorado. The Rocky Mountain Automotive Press Association once a year does a driving event. All the manufacturers, new car manufacturers come together. They bring a lot of different products, and we do all sorts of different drives. We do some off-road drives, some on-road driving. Used to do some racing out at High Plains Racetrack. We've since changed that around a little bit, or they've changed that around a little bit. But one of the cars that I just thought I needed to talk about, just because it's just a car to talk about, and it was a car I actually got behind the wheel of, and it was impressive to say the least, and that is the Dodge Charger Hellcat. Retail price, $70,865, 707 horsepower, and a 6.2-liter V8 supercharged engine, and I will tell you right now that that car flat out hauls. Literally. I don't know any other way to say it. The car just runs. It was one of the most fun cars I've driven, I think, ever, and I've driven some pretty fast cars in my life. That car, I just can't say enough about it. The car just flat works, and so impressive on, the 0 to 60 time, yet you could drive that car as a regular daily driver, no problems, worked fantastic. So let's go to Patrick, who's up first. Patrick, welcome. What's going on, sir?
Good morning, John. How are you today?
We're doing well, sir. Thanks for calling.
Good. Yeah, enjoy the show during the week, too. I've talked to you before.
Thank you very much, Patrick.
Hey, I've got a 92 Corolla, and I've got a little oil in the reservoir and in the radiator.
Okay.
I just changed the oil. That's when I noticed it. And I've got about 400, probably about 500 miles on it, synthetic oil, and I'm not low on oil, but I did put an axle in it. Lost a little bit of transmission fluid, so I put 4 ounces in there. I guess my question is are those I think it's a 1.6 liter, are they notorious for head gaskets? The cars haven't been overheated.
Okay, so just to make sure I'm following you right, Patrick, it's got oil in the coolant reservoir. Is that where the oil's at?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so you've got oil in the coolant reservoir. That's a pretty good indication you've got some sort of a head gasket problem.
Yeah, I got it. Would it be possible it could be coming from the cooler, transmission cooler on the radiator?
Could be, but you'd notice a different color on the oil typically if that were the case. Is transmission fluid low at all?
I put 4 ounces in it last night. We lost a wee little bit changing the axle.
Got it. Okay.
A little spot on the ground. I don't know, size of a pancake.
I mean, so the color of the oil that you're seeing in the reservoir, and Ken Rackley just joined us. So good morning, Ken.
Morning.
Glad you're here.
Well, good to be here.
So,
morning, Ken.
So Patrick, question is the oil, the residue that you're seeing inside of the bottle, is it more of a blackish color or a reddish color?
No, it's kind of more of the milk a little bit, and then in the radiator it's more dark.
If it's milky colored, typically that's motor oil. Now, I say that, and then at the end I'm going to tell you still need to have that thing looked at, diagnosed, and really make sure that's what it is. But just everything you're telling me, it sounds like engine oil's in the coolant.
Yeah, I'm afraid. The car's only got 76,000 miles on it.
It's not many.
No, it's set for a long time. I work a lot. I'm calling you now. I'm a truck driver, but is there something that I could buy at a parts store or something? I've heard you guys talk about.
Yeah, there is. There's a particular product you can try, and I have fixed. And this is not a permanent fix, but on this particular vehicle, as old as it is, and wanting to save money, trying to keep the thing going. There's a product we've been using. I've even been using it in my fleet shop. If I get into a bind where I know it's going to be a few days before I can get it in the shop, but I can still keep the thing on the road the next few days. We've been using a product called K-Seal. It's K, just the letter K, seal afterwards. It comes in a blue bottle, and Ken's over here shaking his head yes, because he's heard me talk about this before, and I'm assuming, Ken, you've tried it, right?
I have, yeah.
And it works, doesn't it?
And it does, yeah.
Yeah, it works.
It's a temporary, just buy a little bit of time, but yeah, it definitely
But it
can't
works.
hurt.
That's right. Yeah, in your particular case, Patrick, you're not going to hurt anything doing it.
And, right, yeah, I mean, I ain't got a lot of money into the car. I've had it a few years.
Now, you're not gonna be out anything. This stuff's about $25 a bottle, so you're gonna be out $25. Put a bottle of it in it and see what happens.
And if I left it alone like it is, it doesn't seem to be getting worse. I mean, I've been monitoring it every other day because I run, probably 50 miles a day with it.
Well, if it were me, and just again to try to make the thing last as long as you can, I would flush the coolant, put new coolant in it, put the K seal in it at that point in time. In other words, get the oil that's in there out of it now, get all that flushed out, put some new coolant in it, put the K seal in it, and see what happens.
All right. Hey, I've got one other question.
Sure.
Hey, are you guys going to be doing any remote soon?
I don't have anything scheduled in the very near future, but that can change in a week's notice. So right now, nothing on the calendar.
Oh, I just got this. I got a 95 Z28 with 65,000 miles
wow.
on it. Oh, yeah. I mean, I did cars for a long time, John, and it's a solid 9, almost a 10. Excuse me. And I was just wanting, I value your opinion. I just wanted somebody else to look at it. I was thinking about selling it.
No, and that's something too where, Patrick, send me an email. I'd be happy to meet you someplace. I mean, I come down south every day. We could meet someplace. I could look at it along the way down or back up home. So that's not a big deal. Just let me know what you want to do on that.
Okay, yeah, I'm not probably too far from your house. I'm in Brighton.
You could even run it by my shop up there. That's not a problem.
Okay. Yeah, I'll shoot you an email
Okay.
on that. It's just something that.
Yeah, no, I'd be happy to do that. I would enjoy that. That'd be fine. I'd like to see it.
Yeah.
Okay, that sounds good.
All
I'll
right,
shoot you
Patrick.
an email over the weekend.
You know how to get a hold of me. That sounds great, Patrick. Have a great afternoon and be safe on the roads driving. We need you truck drivers out there.
That's right.
That means goods are moving and dirt's moving and other things are happening, and that's a good thing for the economy. So as much as we tend to we tend to get a little crotchety when you see all those trucks on the road, and even myself, I'm guilty of this sometimes. I need to remind myself that's a good thing. That means the economy's rolling along.
We would not survive without them.
Thank you.
Is for sure.
No, it is a good thing when we see trucks on the road. So that's a reminder. Scott, you're up next. What's going on, sir?
Yes, I have. My daughters are in college, and I bought them two different, but they're identical cars. 2005 Honda Accords 2.4.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And one of them has a starter problem that I'm bringing into a shop today. And that mechanic there told me that to not use full synthetic oil on Hondas. And I try to scan on the internet and look for problems with any vehicle.
Doesn't know what he's talking about.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Have you ever heard of anything like that?
Nada.
No.
There's nothing special about the metallurgy in a Honda engine over a Toyota over a Chevy.
Yeah.
Okay.
No,
Well, it just didn't make any sense. And also,
no offense on that one, Scott. Not to tell you, where to take it, but if you're getting that kind of information out of a technician, he's got to be some sort of a wives' tale, old timer. Worried about things that really don't need to be worried about today. I might be shopping around for another tech.
Well, I'm getting a starter replaced, so you know what I mean. Today,
that should be pretty. That should be pretty easily. Outside of that, I think I'd find somebody else for your other stuff.
Yeah, and just in general, do you have a problem with for example, I've got a 91 Mercury Cougar 3.8, the classic car, but it's rear wheel drive. And that one, it's my understanding that on the distributor, it has an actual distributor with a distributor, electronic rotor and all that.
Right.
I've been told by a previous mechanic who sold the shop to this guy that you can wiggle it a little bit and you can tell if the timing chain is too worn out. You can visually inspect it if you wiggle it just right. Is that true?
No, not the rotor itself. What you have to watch the rotor as you're rotating the crankshaft one direction
to see the slop.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what Ken's saying is you put a wrench on, like a breaker bar on the crankshaft. Right. You watch the distributor and you see how much the timing mark actually, the timing marks on the harmonic balancer, how much, how many degrees of movement you have in that before the distributor moves. You rock it back and forth. And really, if you get more than a couple of degrees, you probably got a problem or you need to replace a chain.
Yeah.
Well, I don't think my chain's bad. It's got 152,000, but I use full synthetic oil, and the person that had it never went over 3,000 miles on oil.
Okay.
Yeah.
I change it 2,500.
And even with all of that, that engine is old enough that, age-wise, what I'm trying to say, check it. You'll know when it's time to replace it by doing the test we just mentioned.
Right. And chances are it could go at any time because it's a 24-year-old car.
Yeah, although the chain's a chain. So it really doesn't matter whether it's 24 years or 54 years. It's really more mileage than it is anything else. Belts are different, but chains, it's a piece of metal. If it's not being used, it's not wearing out.
And those are steel sprockets, so more than likely it's not going to go out. It'll just, cause some
sloppy.
drivability
Right.
issues and stuff. But yeah.
Could you reasonably expect a timing chain like that to go 200,000 if the oil was real clean in it all the time? I mean,
That's pushing it on a timing chain.
Yeah.
In that era, that's pushing it on a timing chain.
Usually what happens with those is the front covers start leaking anyway. So you have to take the cover off anyway, and then you're there.
Okay.
So that's usually.
Well, thank you. I could never heard of that before on Hondas not using full synthetic.
No,
that's some sort of wives' tale that's got passed down in that shop or with that particular individual. And unfortunately, in our industry, there are still a gazillion wives' tales running around, and I don't really understand why, because most technicians, if they just did a little bit of research and opened their mind a little bit, they could learn so much and realize that, wait a minute, the way I've been doing this isn't really the right way to do it. There's better ways to do this, and this is a great example of it.
Can I do a quick plug for your show?
Sure.
I've listened to you for many years. I really appreciate the way you guys have sometimes different people on, and you give sometimes different perspectives. And I can tell you that some of the products you've recommended I've used, I'm really, really impressed. I think you guys do a great job and you do a great public service. And I know I and some of my friends that have went to some of your shops. I travel a lot, so I have a unique situation. We appreciate what you guys are doing.
Well, thank you. Well, thank you for that, Scott. I really appreciate that very much. Yeah, that's great. No, I appreciate that. Have a great weekend, Scott.
Okay, thank you.
You bet. I appreciate that. And that was a totally unsolicited comment from Scott. So Scott, we appreciate that very much. Maybe we should mark that down. We had to pull that out and use that for some promotions here on down the road for Drive Radio. That's actually not a bad idea. So, Scott, we really do appreciate that. And along that line, and Ken's sitting here, I'm not just saying this because Ken's here, but all of our Colorado Select members feel the same way about things that Scott just said. We're here really to provide a service. Yes, Drive Radio is a promotional tool used to help all of the sponsors that sponsor this program on a weekly basis. No doubt about it. There is nothing hidden in that. We will admit that front and center every single week. On the same token, all of the guys that come in and volunteer their time and make this show what it is, do it because they want to help the motoring public. In fact, a lot of them wouldn't even be in business if they didn't want to help the motoring public. It's that simple, right, Ken?
That's exactly right, yeah.
It's a love for the car. It's a love for the people that are driving the car. Or, it's like a doctor. You wouldn't be in the industry if you didn't love it in the first place.
Yeah.
It's the way it works.
Exactly.
So, all right, with that, let's take a quick time out. We're going to be right back. I'll talk to you a little bit more about the Dodge Charger SRT Hellcat. And Hellcat, it's named that for a reason. We'll talk about that as soon as we come back. Lines are open, 303-477-5600. What was the first muscle car? And then also, what's your favorite muscle car? Right here in Drive Radio, KLZ 560.
Napa know-how! Isn't it ironic that in order to remove engine grease, you need plenty of elbow grease? Well, Napa has your engine and your elbows covered. Get Gunk Original Engine Degreaser for $2.99 and get a mail-in rebate good for the entire sale price. That makes it all practically free. The savings continue with the 5-quart Napa Conventional Oil Change Combo with the Napa Silver Oil Filter for $17.99 every day. Conquer the job and your questions with Napa Know-How. Napa Know-How!
Have you ever been ripped off by an auto shop? Chances are you have at least felt like you were, and as a technician myself, I get it. So how do you know who to trust? The answer is to always choose a Colorado Select Auto Care Center. Colorado Select is a hand-picked group of independent shops who all adhere to the highest standards of customer service. They use ASE-certified master technicians who all offer at least a 3-year, 36,000-mile warranty on repairs, far exceeding most dealerships. Find a shop nearest you at coloradoselect.com. In Parker, you need the only Colorado Select Auto Care Center in Douglas County. Extreme Auto Repair on South Dransfeld. Right now, save 20% off any repair if you mention KLZ. Call 720-573-6445.
At Arvada West Auto and Truck, we won't try to impress you with a waiting room with a big screen TV and lattes. What we will do is give you good service and expert repair. We pride ourselves in being interested in you and your vehicle. We stand behind our work with the power of Napa Auto Care and a 3-year or 36,000-mile warranty. And if needed, we do have a customer waiting area. Come see us at Arvada West Auto for all your repair needs. We are located at 11752 West 64th Avenue in West Arvada, or call 303-422-1065 for an appointment.
Here are the 3 C's of high performance in less than 60 seconds. Your engine piston rings must have good compression, which makes good combustion, which saves cash at the pump. But you lose compression when piston rings clog with carbon. Today's engines use low tension rings, which clog much easier, which lowers compression, combustion, and the amount of cash in your pocket with higher fuel cost and expensive repairs. This problem can be fixed as fast as your next oil change. The best service shops use a BG product that cleans the engine and accomplishes the 3 C's in just 15 minutes. It has 3 letters, EPR, as in engine performance restoration, that cleans piston rings and restores compression, which increases and saves you. Find a shop with BG products at bgfindashop.com. That's bgfindashop.com. So, at your next oil change, remember the 3 C's. You will find more of this in your engine and this in your pocket when you clean your engine with BG.
If you ever want to see all the oxygen leave the room, tell somebody their transmission is bad. Transmissions are the repair most drivers fear most because they are the most misunderstood. Nobody understands transmissions better than Larry's Automotive and Transmission. They are the driveline pros, and they can take the fear and mystery out of transmission repair. Transmissions don't just go bad overnight. There are warning signs. Difficulty shifting or hesitation, for instance. Ignore those signs and you'll be looking at a big, scary estimate. Take it to Larry's at the first sign that something is wrong, and your repairs will most likely be minor. The only way to know for sure is to call Larry's Automotive and Transmission right away at 303-427-2108. 303-427-2108. They are ATRA certified, ASE
10 seconds.
and A+ with the BBB. Larry's Automotive and Transmission, the driveline pros, recommended by John Rush.
John Rush, Ken Rackley, Drive Radio. It's 10:20 in the morning. Appreciate y'all listening. And yeah, again, Scott, thanks for all of your kind comments. I appreciate it very much. Before we take our next caller, I want to finish up the Dodge Charger SRT Hellcat mini review. And I didn't get a lot of time in the car. I mean, I drove it about, I don't know, I want to say 7 or 8 miles.
Nice.
So I didn't have a ton of time in it, 15, 20 minutes.
7 to 8 miles of fun.
I'm here to tell you that it was 15 to 20 minutes of extreme enjoyment.
Wow, that's neat.
The car just, and I got to talk to the SRT guys at dinner. I actually sat at the same table with them for dinner later that night. And what I will tell you is, which I didn't know this, I found this really interesting. They took the Challenger and the Charger both out to, racetrack, drag strip, trying to get as low ET as they could, bone stock, put slicks on both cars. And here's what's funny about it. The Charger isn't any faster with street slicks than it is with the regular tires, because the way the weight transfer and everything works on the Charger, it's actually faster in the quarter mile than the Challenger is.
I'll be darned.
Because of the way the car is actually set up and some of the aerodynamics of it, the way the air comes around the back end of the vehicle and so on. Wow. So I thought that was really interesting.
That is pretty interesting. I saw that first commercial I saw that commercial for the Hellcat last night, and it's
just a machine.
And I wasn't even aware, and I was like, wow, that's pretty cool. I need to check this out a little bit.
The car is a machine. That's all I can say. If you can ever get the chance to get behind the wheel of one, you need to. I mean, it is just absolutely breathtaking. It is. It's great.
When I was driving home Thursday night, and there was one parked at one of the local restaurants in Franktown, and it was one of the green Challengers, actually.
Got it.
And it's like, you don't see those every day.
No, you don't. No, there's not a lot of them produced. Right. It's pretty rare car. That's pretty cool. Well, good deal. Yeah. All right, Jim in Northland, you're up next, sir. What can we do for you?
All right, I got a 1998 Oldsmobile 88, and I had to check engine light. I took it to AutoZone, had it checked up with the scanner. They said it was a shift solenoid that was going on, and I don't know if you have to take that in to get it fixed or what it takes to put one of those on.
Yeah, Yeah, and is it missing a shift or hard shifting or what's it doing?
Well, it ain't got a low gear. The first gear and overdrive are done. You know, it don't even work. I had to put it in second to take off, and it took off real slow. Then it go in third gear, but it won't go into overdrive.
Oh, okay.
And it won't take off in first gear. And so that's what they said. You know, they stuck that deal on there and said it was the shift solenoid.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to say on that. We need to get in and do some testing, definitely. And how many miles are on in the vehicle?
167.
Oh, okay. So, you know, it could be something along those lines. Those solenoids don't fail a ton, but they do. But it's something that, yeah, you have to drop to get to the shift solenoid anyway, you have to drop the subframe, pull the right or the left side off axle wise and things like that. So it's a more in-depth process getting to that.
Oh man, I was afraid of that. Okay.
Yeah, the valve body, you have to get to the valve body on the side cover so it's not from underneath.
All righty. Okay, well, I guess I'll have to take that somewhere because I can't do that. So I'm going to take that somewhere and get her done then.
Well, and definitely need to get it checked and make sure that it's a solenoid issue and not an internal failure on the transmission because, I mean, not that the mileage is excessive, but it's got a few miles on it and it can sure set that code, not being the actual problem, but a symptom of the problem.
Yeah, it's had a new motor put in at 50,000 miles ago, and so then the tranny got pulled a second time for put a flex plate in.
Oh, sure. Yep.
So I don't know if that had anything to do. You know, it's been out a couple times, so
shouldn't. Yeah, just the R&R shouldn't be an issue there. But yeah, it's
okay.
Definitely need to do a little testing before you just get in and replace that solenoid because it's going to be a job just to do the solenoid. So make sure that's the issue first.
All right. That sounds good then.
All right, Jim. Appreciate the phone call very much. And I just looked it up to 0 to 60 times because I think I had this wrong on the radio yesterday when I talked about it. The Hellcat Charger does 0 to 60 in 2.9 seconds.
I think my Cobalt is pretty close to that.
2.9 seconds, 0 to 100 and 7.2, an 1/8 mile track time of 6.8, and a 1/4 mile time of 10.7. Nice. And it will actually do 11 seconds with street tires.
Man,
that's a fast car.
That's
folks.
a fast car. That's right.
It is a fast car.
That's
it was a good time. 303-477-5600. What's your favorite muscle car of all time, and what was the first muscle car? That's the question of today. JR, you're next.
Hey, hi, good morning. Thanks for taking my call.
You bet.
Yeah, I want to give some kudos to the Tilden's Auto Care up the 6th and Peoria.
Great.
That manager, Rob Brown, and he's a master tech, and also Brandon, he's a master tech. They've been working my car. I had an airbag light they had to take care of, and EVAP, and then the strut. So they've gone above and beyond the Call of Duty, so to speak.
Awesome. Well, that's good to hear. I'm glad to hear that. They're great. Ed Beery, the owner there, I'll tell you this right now. Ed is a fantastic gentleman. He's a great guy.
Right, that's true. I mean, I try to get a hold of him, but he's hard to get a hold of.
He is. He's in and out. He's got a lot of things going on. He's,
right.
He's an owner. He's got good management in place, but he's got a lot of things going on outside of the shops. But he's a great guy.
Yeah, I mean, they picked me up one time, and they dropped me off. They picked me up, and they've done things that other shops wouldn't do. Okay.
That's
also,
great.
There was an issue with the key. They made a key for me, and they didn't charge me for that. So that was a good deal there. Nope.
Great. That's great. Good to hear. Glad to hear that.
Yeah. Also, I like what I like about and this is unsolicited. Carlos selected. I like the 36,000 mile or 3-year warranty. That means a lot to me. Most shops don't do that. Usually 18 months, maybe a year.
Yep.
So
that's correct.
So that Tilden's good going. I encourage other people to go there. If
I'm actually just as you were talking, I'm sending Ed an email telling you how what a great job he did, and these guys need to hear that. So I'm sending him an email right now, JR, on your behalf.
Okay, thanks a lot.
You're very welcome, JR.
To the show.
Appreciate that very much. Thanks, I appreciate that. So it's always good to hear that. And you know what? There's rarely a week that goes by that we don't get some sort of a kudo for one of the shops in our Colorado Select network.
Sure. Yeah.
Which is a great thing.
Yeah, you betcha.
Rarely. Now, occasionally there's that, something didn't quite go right and somebody's got a problem. But, I will say in the 20 years of doing this, that's the minor portion of the the comments we've received in 20 years,
sure. Yeah.
which is great.
Well, and too, when we get the calls during the week or the people that stop by and it's like, oh, I heard you on the radio and really love what you do and stuff like that. It's good to hear.
Yeah, it really is. No, and JR, I appreciate that very much. Let's do this. Jim is up next. We got some lines open, 303-477-5600. Jim, what's going on, sir?
Well, not too much. How you guys doing?
We're doing great. Thanks for calling.
I've got questions on oil and oil changes.
Okay.
Sure, go ahead.
My wife has a 2014 Acura MDX.
Okay.
I usually use the fully synthetic Mobil 1. Will that work in those Acuras as well?
Sure.
Yeah, sure will.
I thought there was some weird thing about ad packs for Acuras and Hondas or something like that I need to be aware of.
As long as it meets the SFI specs that your car is requesting, and Mobil 1 says on there that it does. Now, there are certain vehicles that require a certain numerical spec that has to be on the bottle of the oil itself. That you'll have to kind of verify to make sure that you're that you've got the right oil. For example, General Motors now has an oil that's called Dexos, and you have to use a Dexos oil or a Dexos specific oil in those particular vehicles. Mobil 1 makes a Dexos oil that works with GM, and they make Mobil 1 for a lot of other applications. So just make sure you're using the right Mobil 1 for that application. And what I mean by that is sometimes the Costco, Sam's Club, Mobil 1 that's on the shelf may meet that requirement, or it may not. That's where you have to be a little more specific on what's actually on the case or the bottle itself.
Okay, and you get that off that little that circle emblem thing.
It'll be on the circle, or it's in your owner's manual.
Okay.
And what I would do is look at the owner's manual. It'll say specifically what oil you need, what specs it's supposed to meet. Go to Mobil 1's website, look it up, and it'll be right on there.
Okay, great. And then one more question. So I just purchased a 2015 Toyota Tacoma, and I also have a 2004 Toyota 4Runner. So I'm kind of split my drive times between both of those vehicles. I'm actually only driving probably about 5,000 a year.
Okay.
Per vehicle.
Okay.
Obviously, I'll do my 6 months to keep my warranty up on my 2015 Tacoma. But after that, and really,
truthfully, I don't know if you even need to do that. If you're using full synthetic, you should be able to do an annual oil change on both of those vehicles and still not affect warranty at all. You're not putting enough miles on it to bother anything.
Okay. Well, that was my ultimate question. Is once a year okay?
Yes.
For those?
Yes. If with 5,000 miles a year, run a full synthetic premium grade oil filter. So run a Napa Platinum, that type of a filter, a Napa Platinum filter. You do that, an annual oil change, full synthetic. I've got several vehicles I do the exact same thing on. And one of them is under warranty. You're not going to have any problems doing that.
Okay, great. All righty. Thank you very much.
You're very welcome. Appreciate the phone call. Let's do this. We got calls coming in. One line open is all 303-477-5600. Call us. We'll get right to you. Let's take a quick timeout. We'll be back right after this. John Rush, Ken Rackley, Drive Radio.
We breathe dirty air every day, and believe it or not, the air you breathe inside your vehicle can be even more polluted than the air outside. Thankfully, many of the vehicles sold today are equipped with a cabin air filter to help keep the air inside your car clean. If you are driving a car with a dirty or clogged cabin air filter, not only are you breathing dirty air, but it also puts a strain on your car's HVAC system, decreasing its performance and longevity. K&N, the inventor of washable automotive air filters, has applied its decades of high-flow, washable air filter design to cabin air filters for cars and trucks. These robust filters clean and freshen the air coming into your car's interior and are electrostatically charged to hold dust and dirt. They feature a pleated filter media that helps capture most mold, mildew, fungus, spores, bacteria, germs, pollen, and other allergens, while still allowing a high volume of airflow. They are strengthened by a custom design frame for a great fit and years of use. Best of all, K&N cabin air filters are washable and clean up easy with the K&N Refresher Cabin Air Filter Cleaning Kit. They typically only need cleaning every 12 to 15,000 miles or once a year, but you can wash them more often if you'd like, and K&N backs them up with a 10-year, 100,000-mile limited warranty. They come with easy-to-follow installation instructions so you can easily replace your old filter, usually in 5 to 10 minutes. Keep the air inside your car clean and fresh without continually burying and throwing away disposable filters. Find the K&N washable cabin air filter for your car or truck at knfilters.com. That's knfilters.com.
Consider the ramifications of just one of your fleet vehicles breaking down. You get the phone calls, an angry customer due to a missed appointment, a schedule thrown into chaos, work not completed, a hit to your reputation, lost sales, maybe a lost customer, and a bad review. You get to deal with all of it. At Tilden, they know that your vehicles are your business. Without them, your reputation, your cash flow, your day, and maybe your sanity are all on the line. Tilden uses state-of-the-art software to monitor each vehicle in your fleet. They'll set up a schedule to avoid costly repairs by taking care of problems while there's still minor maintenance issues. Protect your profits, minimize downtime, and sleep better. Call Tilden today and join the many fleets, large and small, who know that the fleet is handled. That's fleet maintenance from Tilden. Call 303-797-79.
I'm Isaac Bouchard from Bespoke Autos. As a sponsor, I'm so excited to help Drive Radio because John and his team, along with the Colorado Select Service Centers, strive so hard to bring the best possible experience to the challenging world of auto care. At my company, Bespoke Autos, we do the same when it comes to buying and leasing cars, trucks, and SUVs, whether new or used. Bespoke means custom tailored, and that's what we do. Custom tailor to your vehicle needs. Find out more at denverautobrokers.org. That's denverautobrokers.org.
At Napa, we're always trying to make the great parts we sell even better. From the bacteria-killing surface on our cabin air filters to our revolutionary new Adaptive One brakes. And every Napa part is covered by a warranty good at any of our 6,000 Napa Auto Parts stores. Yeah, maybe you don't get this at your average auto parts store, but we've spent the last 80 years making sure we were anything but average. Go to NapaOnline.com for a location nearest you. Napa, get the good stuff.
Let me tell you a little bit about Lone Tree Veterinarian Medical Center. Phone number is 303-708-8050. You can find them at LoneTreeVet.com. The owners, Nancy and Bill Moyle, Dr. Bill, I should say, they've been longtime listeners and supporters of Drive Radio. They appreciate so much all the information that we've given out over the years. And what they want to do is basically support Drive Radio to keep that going. So you know what? The best thing we can do is just give back to Lone Tree Veterinarian Medical Center. So go see them now. If you've got a pet, a cat, a dog, any type of pet they can take care of, the phone number is 303-708-8050. They're certified by the American Animal Hospital Association, and they recently earned their 3rd annual Gold Star rating with the Better Business Bureau. They're located at
10 seconds.
Avenue in Lone Tree. It's 1 block west of Yosemite on Lincoln Avenue. Go visit them today at LoneTreeVet.com. And when you call them, make sure you tell them that John Rush from Drive Radio sent you. John Rush, Ken Rackley, Drive Radio, KLZ 560. We got an email from a listener that said, hey, please pass on a thank you to Ken for referring me to an exhaust shop for muffler tailpipe repair. Basically, the staff at that shop did exactly what they needed to do, got him back on the road. Ken is a great resource for motorists in the Aurora area. That comes from Dan. So good job, Ken.
Well, thanks. Thank you, Dan.
That's always great to hear that. So, all right, let's do this. Line's open, 303-477-5600. What's your favorite muscle car, and what was the first muscle car? Jerry and Greeley, you're next. What's going on, sir?
Hey, how we doing today?
Doing great. Thanks for calling, Jerry.
Hey, I just got done with a road trip, a 9-state road trip in my 07 Chrysler Town and Country.
Okay.
3.3 liter, 135,000 miles. The last leg of my trip was from Parachute, Colorado, up over the Vail Pass, over the Eisenhower tunnels. And when I got down into Denver, it was about 9 o'clock at night, and I thought, okay, last leg of the trip, home free. Well, 3 miles before I-76, we hit 3 lanes into 1 lane road construction.
Right.
During that half-mile trip, my transmission downshifted really hard one time, and I didn't think a whole lot about it. Then on I-25, around 80th or 120th, the same thing, 3 lanes into 1, and it downshifted real hard again once. Got it home here to Greeley, and I've been driving it for a week since and transmission fluid's still nice and pink and smells good, and it's been doing just fine. I'm just wondering what would cause it to downshift hard like that, just out of the blue.
Yeah, really hard to say. Must have, and no check engine lights, obviously. Nothing brought to your attention on the dash.
No, sir.
Yeah, it's really hard to say. Probably, I mean, that could be anything from a intermittent issue with the transmission, or boy, it's just hard to say. I mean, it could even be like a software update too. But I haven't run across that at this point.
The other thing I noticed, and it's always had just a little bit of a whining noise to it.
Okay.
I go 2-3 hours in between stops, and when I come to into a rest area or whatever, I could hear the whine a little bit louder, at the lower RPMs until I come to a stop, and then it was just a really, kind of almost sounds like a power steering pump whine.
Right.
But it was coming from the drivetrain because it would not do it with the turn of the steering wheel. It would do it with the RPM of the engine.
Huh.
And then once you got, after it shifted out of first gear, it disappeared.
Really?
And it's done that since I bought it, and it had 107,000 miles on it when I bought it. It's always had that little whine in it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So that doesn't concern me a whole lot.
Right. Yeah. It's just something that you've noticed. Yeah. And
right.
Oh, it's just yeah. I mean, that's
and now it's working fine.
Yeah. Right.
When was the last time the transmission was serviced?
That I don't know. I have not serviced it since I've had it now 107 to 100, so almost 30,000 miles.
I would service it at this point and see if that does anything.
Exactly.
It may not.
Okay.
Yeah.
But you're due anyways, regardless. So it's a maintenance item that needs done on the vehicle anyways. I would do a complete flush, have somebody check the pan and the filter in it, make sure all that's in good shape. Screen, I should say. Make sure that's all in good shape, and then it may not fix the problem, but you're not going to hurt anything doing that.
Right.
Okay, and then Community Auto up here in Fort Collins would be about my closest.
They would be your best shop, and they'll take care of you, definitely.
Heard about them on your radio show.
Yep, they're great people. Let them know you listen, and they're a great shop.
Now, if I got a chance to, my favorite muscle car was the 70 Mach 1 I had.
Okay.
Nice.
The very first muscle car, I'm not sure, but I'm wanting to say it was a 1930s models, but I can't remember what it was.
Nope, you're too early.
Too early.
I'll give everybody a hint. This is early 60s. Now, this is the definition of what the automotive world considers the first muscle car. It's going to be early 60s. Okay, there you go. There's a little tip for everybody. So, what's your favorite muscle car? Jerry's was the 70 Mach 1, which, by the way, good muscle car. So, yeah, nothing wrong with that car at all, Jerry.
Right. Yeah, I remember when I was 15, it's like we had some friends that had 2 Mach 1s, and I'm like, I really want one of those. And
I mean, Mach 1s, Chevelles, Z28s, GTOs, those were the cars to have back in the day. They were, they were the Hellcat of the day.
That's right. The 428s and
the funniest thing about it, though, is none of those cars, with the exception of some of the real exotic type, I shouldn't say exotics, the real rare, let me, I'm thinking out loud here, but you take like the really rare, Camaro ZL1 type car. Those were some cars that probably would compete on the straightaway, not around the corner,
right?
But on a straightaway with the new Hellcats. But rare, is it for one of those old cars to be as fast as the new car that you've got today that you can go buy?
Yeah. There's no one. Yeah.
And the funny part about that, here's something else interesting. Some people are going to think, well, John, that Charger was $70,000. Okay, buy a really nice, fully restored 70 Mach 1 and tell me what the price is.
Yeah, you're probably over 100.
Or go buy a really nice 70 LS6 454 Chevelle and tell me what you're going to pay for that car, more than the 70. Now, granted, they're two different cars, and I get that, but it's all relative.
It's going to be what you're going to pay what you feel it's worth to you.
Well, there's that old saying, speed costs money.
Oh, yeah.
How fast can you afford to go?
That's right.
I think that sign used to hang up in the Bandamir's part stores, back when they had part stores. I think that sign used to hang up behind the counter. Speed costs money. How fast can you afford to go?
That's right.
And there's a lot of truth to that. So lines open, 303-477-5600. We'd love to chat with you. An email, which, by the way, you can email us. We'll answer the questions on air as much as we can. It's John, John, at drive-radio.com. So this one comes from Chris in Arvada. New vehicle in the future. Has been told that a timing belt eventually needs replacement and a timing chain does not. Is a timing belt versus a timing chain a deal breaker? Ken? It isn't to me.
No. I mean, it's the timing belt. You have to plan for maintenance. Right. I mean, it's something that, it's going to need to be done at
90. And anymore there on the newer vehicles, they're 90, 100K-ish roughly, depending on the vehicle. So
every 100,000, you figure, and you might have to end up replacing it twice, 3 times over its life if you hold on to it that long. And where a timing chain, it's, you don't have to plan for that. And they will wear, but they're not as,
to me, Chris, just going along the lines of what Ken was just saying, I would not allow a timing chain versus a timing belt to be a deal breaker for me. Yeah. It all for me comes down to, do I like the car? Does it run well? Does it have the performance I need? Does it have the interior creature comforts I want? Does it fit me, my family, all of those other things? Those to me are a way bigger factor than does it have a chain or a belt?
Right. Exactly.
And that neither one of those are going to bother me one way or the other.
Yeah. If you're buying something used or, just need to check, see if it has been done. If it hasn't, then that can be worked into the price.
All right. So then he goes on to say, my favorite muscle car, if a 6-cylinder engine is considered, which it would be in this particular case, 84 to 87 Buick Regal GNX. Someday, he says. And I'm like, yep, I would agree with that one.
Same as the Grand National.
Yep. Those are, that again is also a very, very fast car. So Chris, I hope that answers your questions. We'll come right back. Wayne, don't go away. I figured you'd be calling in. He's always got a great muscle car story to talk about. So we'll get that from Wayne in just a moment. Don't go away. We got lines open, 303-477-5600. Ken Rackley, John Rush, Drive Radio, KLZ 560.
That little check engine light could be telling you that something very bad is about to happen. Then again, it could be nothing. Find out for sure at Extreme Auto Repair in Parker. Most repair shops use a universal scanning tool to diagnose your check engine light, but because of the rapid pace of advancing technology, those tools are just not accurate. Extreme Auto Repair invested in the actual factory scan tools that the dealerships use, which are specific to the make of your car. Extreme owner Dennis Brewster knows that using the right tools to get a job done saves you, the customer, time and money. And it all begins with accurate diagnostics. It's just one more way that Extreme Auto Repair goes to the extreme for you. Extreme Auto Repair in Parker. Call 303-841-1071, 303-841-1071. Mention KLZ 560 and save 20% off your repairs at Extreme Auto Repair. Extreme Auto Repair in Parker. They go to the extreme for you.
This is Red Merrill for Phoenix Weaponry. Phoenix Weaponry is a weapon manufacturer that services the firearm enthusiast. From precision ARs to suppressors, Phoenix Weaponry can make your dreams come true. Phoenix Weaponry is a full-service gun shop that offers gunsmithing, coating, and modifications to your own weapon. Phoenix Weaponry, family-owned and operated right here in Colorado. If you can dream it, Phoenix Weaponry can build it. Call today, 720-340-2496. Again, that's 720-340-2496. Or visit their website, phoenixweaponry.com. Mention Sportsman of Colorado and receive 10% off your custom-built weapon.
Ever try to buy an air filter and get lost in catalogs and vehicle descriptions? Well, K&N, the inventor of reusable cotton filters, has got the answer to the mess. Just visit knfilters.com and enter your vehicle identification number off your dashboard or car registration, and K&N will show you the filter that fits your car. It's never been easier to buy a K&N, the filter that helps your car run better.
Gino's Auto Service in Littleton is your go-to service shop for all your car care needs. Now, for a limited time, have lunch on Gino's. Mention this ad, and with any service work done over $50 on your vehicle, receive a gift certificate for lunch while supplies last. Remember, Gino's is AAA approved, has been in business since 1983, and offers courtesy vehicles while your car is being serviced. They are conveniently located at Bowles and Platte Canyon in Littleton. Have lunch on Gino's. Visit them online at Gino'sAutoservice.com.
At Napa Auto Parts, we've been the most trusted name in auto parts for over 80 years. Probably because we've never stopped looking for ways to make the great parts we sell even better. It's a commitment to quality you'll find in every one of our 310,000 parts. From the bacteria-killing surface on our cabin air filters, to the patented damping mechanism on our drive-align belt tensioners, to our revolutionary new Adaptive One brakes. And Napa parts are covered by a warranty that's good at any of our 6,000 Napa Auto Parts stores nationwide. Yeah, maybe you don't get this at your average auto parts store, but at Napa, we've spent the last 80 years making sure we were anything but average. To find the Napa Auto Parts store nearest you, go to NapaOnline.com. Napa, get the good stuff.
With over 125 locations in Colorado, southern Wyoming, and western Nebraska, there's only one place to get the good stuff. Napa Auto Parts.
How stressful. You hear a noise, see a fluid leak, feel something funny, a little light comes on your dash, or your car totally breaks down, and you have no idea what it means, what to do, or how to fix it. With how much we depend on our cars to go about our daily lives, you'd think they'd teach us this stuff in school. Luckily for you, you have us. At Community Auto, we're serious about what we do, and we're darn good at it. Having served Fort Collins and Northern Colorado for over 20 years, our family-owned and operated AAA-approved shop has family that extends far beyond our garage doors. At Community Auto, we put the emphasis on care, not just auto repair. Ladies, ever felt intimidated going into an auto repair shop? Scared you'll be taken advantage of? Our female staff is friendly, knowledgeable, and will thoroughly explain and educate you on
10 seconds.
Your car. You'll be in the know and in turn be taken care of. Because at Community Auto, we know that a happy car will get you far.
John Rush, Ken Rackley, Drive Radio, KLZ 560. It is now 10:49 on an absolutely gorgeous Saturday. If you haven't been outside, I encourage you to walk outside and we'll be envious.
It is nice. Definitely.
It's gorgeous.
Yeah.
It is really nice. It's going to be a great weekend here in Colorado. A little bit cooler today, which kind of shows you that fall's in the air. Mr. El Nino is coming.
Not sure if I'm liking that fall feel yet.
I like summer.
Yeah, me too.
Make money in the winter. I mean, I get that. We got to have both. But,
you're right. Yeah,
but I sure like this.
Yeah.
These are great. I love September. These are great days. So, All right, Wayne, you are next. What's going on, sir?
Good morning, gentlemen.
How we doing?
John, as you know, I had a few vehicles back in the 60s and 70s, and I'm trying to remember, to me, as a young man right out of high school, that 55 Chevy was my first muscle car.
Okay.
But I didn't have one, but I drove one, and I was, everybody thought that was one of the fastest things around.
Yeah.
But I don't know about muscle cars. I'm going to take a guess that maybe it was something like a Hemi Charger.
Nope.
Okay, well, I'll let that
we'll get to it
I
eventually.
did own a Hemi
Larry got the
Charger
right answer. He probably
briefly.
cheated, but Larry got the right answer. So we'll get there eventually, and you guys just keep listening. We'll have somebody call in with the right answer. If not, I'll give the right answer out at some point. But you're getting closer.
It's kind of along those lines of the Charger, but the Charger is a little bit later in
a little bit
production.
later. You got to think earlier than Charger.
Just a little.
Well, I don't know much about Chrysler. I didn't follow them too far in there. I just pushed them off the road a lot of times with a Chevelle. But
with your Chevelle,
to me, the Chevelle was my supercar.
Yeah,
the '69 427 Yanko. But
if you only had that
specialty
car
cars,
today,
I wouldn't
Wayne.
expect it to be, an overall muscle car for the crowds. But anyway, they had a lot of them back in the 60s and 70s.
Yes, they did. Yes,
That
they did.
was the time to live.
So any of those? Do you wish you had any of them still today, or do you wish you had all of them?
Yes, sir. I wished I had that Chevelle sitting out here in the condition when I drove it off showroom floor. I'd have a lot more money than I got now.
That's a fact. That's a fact. What did? Do you remember what you paid for that car when you bought it?
Yeah, I do. It was $4,100.
Yeah. Yeah.
Drove it off showroom floor. It wasn't $70,000. It would have probably come pretty close to staying up with that $70,000.
Yes.
Car.
No, those were
But,
fast. So
it wasn't quite that fast. I think I used to run a quarter in like 11 or something.
Yeah.
With street tires on there.
Where'd you buy that car at, Wayne? What dealership?
I don't remember the name of the dealership. It was in Virginia Beach, Virginia.
Okay.
A Chevrolet dealer.
Okay.
They had a raised platform, a raised showroom that set up off of the lot, and it was all glass, and that Chevelle just stood out. It was powder blue with the stripes, you know.
Oh yeah, caught
it
your
just
attention.
stood out. I had to have that.
Yeah.
Did you write a
and
check
I went
for
in
it?
there, and they got it ready to go on the showroom floor there. Still had the window sticker in it, and I told them I wanted to back it out of there, and they had a ramp coming down, a solid concrete ramp. There wasn't much to it, but coming down out of that showroom, and I started that sucker up, and there must have been 40 people around there watching me drive that out of the
Really?
floor.
That's neat.
Did you write a check or finance it?
Oh, I think I financed it. I was in the Navy at the time, and of course, I'm 80 now, so it's kind of hard for me to remember all the details. And stupid me, I kept my window sticker for a while, but in all the moving around and everything, it finally disappeared. But I remember one thing on the window sticker. It said that it had, let's see now, what was it? 450 horses with the standard exhaust configuration.
Okay.
And it had the cast iron manifolds on at that time.
Got it.
And I put 2-inch hookers on it. So,
Okay.
Yeah.
I tell you, it would run.
Yeah, those were good. And those cars, nothing. This is me talking. I know people are going to argue this, but nothing sounds better than a fairly, I mean, that's not a race ready motor, but it's pretty close. Nothing sounds better than that big block Chevy with good exhaust.
Yeah.
Yeah, I kept it on the base out at Pax River, Maryland, and about once a week. Well, we wouldn't do it once a week, but maybe a couple times a month. We'd go down to one of the runways and have drag races, and guys built their own Christmas trees and stuff.
Nice.
And we'd go down there and have drag races, and I'd take that thing, I'd go up the barracks and take it down there with my mufflers intact, and when I got down there close to the place where we had to run, I'd get under there and swing the mufflers out from the header, and hit that thing about 3 times, and I woke up the whole base. So.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
That's awesome. Good stories, Wayne.
Yeah.
Anyway, thank you, gentlemen.
You're
It's
welcome.
always a pleasure.
Oh, likewise. The pleasure's ours, Wayne. I enjoy hearing the stories. That's great. You're a good man. Appreciate it. Enjoy the rest of your afternoon. Stuart is next in Littleton. Stuart, welcome.
Hey, good morning, you guys. I think that first muscle car was the 62 Chevy 409. Didn't they write a song about it?
They did, but that's not the real definition. I mean, and here's the deal. All of the cars that have been mentioned, you could pretty much classify still as a muscle car, including the 409, but the actual definition, that's not it.
It's because that was what I thought also.
The 409s were fast cars. They really were.
Yeah.
They were a sleeper car too, because nobody knew they were really as fast as they were.
You're right. You get an
And
Impala.
then you had the 442.
Yeah. Yeah, that was later.
Yeah.
You guys are getting a little you're getting warmer, let's just say that.
Yeah.
The Grand Sport.
Nope.
Nope.
No, I own one of those cars.
Yeah, I wish I had it.
Yeah, I was fortunate. I was actually fortunate enough to buy. I've told this story a few times. But I was fortunate enough to buy the car I had in high school, which was a '68 Buick GS 400, and I bought that car back this last year. Actually, right after Christmas this last year, and the car still only has. I bought it from my aunt. It had 29,000 miles on it. I sold it at 49,000. The guy I sold it to only drove it about 3,000 miles and only has 51,000 on it today, and it sits in the garage.
Nice.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, I just bought a '69 Lincoln Mark III with a 460.
Ah, good for you.
Yeah, the marks,
So,
2 doors. Yeah, that's nice.
Good for you.
It needs a little motor work, but anyway, one of your competitors is working on it right now. But I drove it up 470. It has a flat aluminum cam, but anyway, it pulled that hill at 80 miles an hour and still running away from Mercedes.
Good deal. Good deal.
Running on 5. So
That's
when
awesome, Stuart. Good
yeah,
stuff.
Anyway.
Hey, man,
Talk to
appreciate
you
it
later.
very much.
Enjoy.
Oh, thanks for the phone call. Let's go to Kenny, who's next. Kenny, welcome.
Yes, I was going to talk about the muscle car. Now, I don't know if it's considered a muscle car, but the best car was the Shelby. And I had a story like the guy that previous that said he went in the Navy. Well, my brother offered to sell it to me. And I said, yeah, where am I supposed to park it? And I get out there, and everybody's got a car, and it got repossessed on him.
Oh, no.
Oh, geez.
Yeah, it was a nice car. But it was one of those cars that had a giddy-up go on it.
Yes, it did. Yeah, that is a fact. Got that right.
So that's what I wanted to comment about.
Awesome, Kenny. Appreciate it. Thanks so much for your phone call. All right. Somebody called in and wanted to know the top tier fuel stations, if I would actually announce that again. And before we go to our top of the hour news break, let me do that. So here they are. No specific order. I guess these are in alphabetical order, but no specific brand that I like over the others, what I'm trying to say. Conoco, Costco, Diamond Shamrock, Phillips 66, Shell, Sinclair, Suncor, and Valero. So here in the Denver area, this Front Range area, I should say, Colorado market, really anything but your supermarkets and your like the U-Pumpets and places like that, pretty much anything but that is top tier.
Yeah.
That's really what you look at, because everything I just listed there are all of our top name brand stations that we've got around.
Those are the bigger.
So, some C-stores, some 7-Elevens, things like that. Yeah, they're not going to be top tier. So Conoco, Costco, Diamond Shamrock, Phillips 66, Shell, Sinclair, Suncor, and Valero. And then he also wanted to know, where do you find Stable 360, which is a great product to put in, especially some of the muscle cars, some of your lawn equipment as you go into winter. You can find Stable 360 really at any of the locally owned Napa parts stores. And even if it's not a locally owned store, if it's an independently operated store, RDC here in Denver is stocking Stable 360. So if you just walk in and ask for it, they'll be able to deliver that product to you. So they'll bring it into the store is what I'm trying to say. So it's Stable 360. You can find it at any of our local Napa parts stores. All right, John in Englewood, hang tight. You've got a comment on the first muscle car. I'd love to hear it. Don't go away. The news is next, though. We'll be right back. Don't go away. Hour number 2 is coming up next, right here on KLZ 560. I'm your host, John Rush, along with Ken Rackley. We'll be right back.
Still haven't had enough? Go to drive-radio.com. Email your questions and comments, download previous programs, and find lots of useful information, including your nearest Colorado Select Auto Care Center. That's drive-radio.com. Thanks for listening to Drive Radio, sponsored by the member shops of Colorado Select Auto Care Centers on KLZ 560.
Drive Radio is a presentation of Colorado Select Auto Care Centers. The independently owned and operated shops of Colorado Select hold each other accountable for their highest standards of technical expertise, honesty, and professionalism. They all understand that choosing a mechanic is risky business. So Colorado Select was created by this exclusive group of like-minded professionals who are dedicated to raising the level of consumer confidence in Colorado's auto repair industry. Schedule your next oil change at any of the Colorado Select Auto Care Centers heard on Drive Radio, and you'll immediately see the difference. For the complete list of all the member shops in the state, visit drive-radio.com.
The big game hunting season is upon us, and archery season is in full swing. Hi, this is Scott Watley with Sportsman of Colorado. Join us Saturdays from 1 to 2 p.m. We'll bring you local outfitters, experts in archery, muzzle loading, and rifle hunting, and much more. Looking for a place to hunt pheasant and waterfowl? We've got you covered. Want to book a trophy deer or elk hunt with a reliable outfitter? We can help. If you like the outdoors, you'll love Sportsman of Colorado. Sportsman of Colorado, Saturdays at 1, right here on KLZ 560.
On Rusher, on the next Rush to Reason, Richard Giordano. He's going to talk about his new book, Supercharged Leadership. You won't want to miss it. We'll have traffic and weather updates, and of course, we'll take all of your calls. That's the next Rush to Reason in the evening rush hour every weekday from 3 to 6 p.m. right here on KLZ 560.
KLZ AM 560, KLZ HD Denver. Listen live at KLZ560radio.com. KLZ 560, a Crawford Broadcasting God and Country station.
USA Headline News, I'm Tammy Rose. One person was killed Friday after a plane crashed in the backyard of a Florida home.
Units were on the scene within between 3 and 6 minutes, both the sheriff's office and fire rescue. We got to the scene and we unfortunately found a pretty horrific crash. It's hardly recognizable as an airplane.
A friend of confessed Charleston church shooter Dylan Roof appeared in court Friday. Joey Meek pleaded not guilty to charges of making false statements and concealing and failing to report a felony. Federal prosecutors allege Meek knew more about Roof's plans than he let on, then lied to authorities about it. He was ordered held on $100,000 bond. Roof faces state and federal charges for the shootings at a historically African-American church back in June. You're listening to USA Headline News.
Warning, if you or a loved one are struggling with drugs and alcohol, there's something you need to know. Thoughts like, I can stop anytime, I'm not hurting anyone, it's my life, are lies. These lies cause you to drink or get high even when you've promised yourself or someone else you wouldn't. You may feel all alone, but you're not. We're here to help. Take the first step. Call us today at 800-461-3329 for a free, no-obligation assessment. Your insurance may even cover the full cost of treatment. Please don't wait. Call 800-461-3329. If nothing changes, nothing changes. Call American Drug Treatment Centers to speak with our trained staff. We'll walk you through getting yourself or a loved one into treatment even if they won't admit there's a problem. The truth is, drugs and alcohol want you dead. Don't let them win. One simple call will start you on the road to recovery. Call 800-461-3329 now. It will be the best thing you ever do. Call 800-461-3329. 800-461-3329.
KLZ Denver.
John Rush during the afternoon rush, weekdays from 3 to 6 on KLZ 560.
Being an expert on general automotive knowledge, what would the correct ignition timing be on a 1955 Bel Air Chevrolet with a 327 cubic inch engine and a 4-barrel carburetor?
It is a trick question.
Watch this.
Because Chevy didn't make a 327 in 55. The 327 didn't come out till 62. And it wasn't offered in the Bel Air with the 4-barrel carb till 64. However, in 1964, the correct ignition timing will be 4 degrees before top dead center.
Get ready for another hour of Drive Radio, brought to you by Colorado Select Auto Care Centers. Got a question for the experts? Then give them a call, 303-477-5600. Now it's time to pop the hood and get our hands dirty. Drive Radio on KLZ 560 The Source.
And this is hour number 2 of Drive Radio on this beautiful Saturday afternoon. If it is Sunday, it's noon, and you can't call in because we're not here.
Yep.
We're here on Saturdays.
Yep.
10 a.m. to 1 p.m. We have a lot of people I know that listen on Sundays, that call in on Sundays. I appreciate that very much. If you've got a question and it is a Sunday afternoon, feel free to email me, john@drive-radio.com. And yeah, you just heard that little Napa ad starting there. Napa's one of our big sponsors. We appreciate them very much. They do a great job for us. And we're proud to be partnered up with them, Ken.
You betcha. Yeah. Have been, in our shop since 1991. We always use Napa parts, but then they came out with Napa Auto Care.
Right. Been a part of that for a long time.
Since.
That's right. No, it's a great program. We really appreciate their support of what we do. And speaking of support, please go to drive-radio.com. We've got all of our sponsors listed there. Everybody, a lot of them advertise on a weekly basis. Some are just listed on the website, but please go check them all out. Use them. Let them know you hear them on Drive Radio. We really, really appreciate that. And they appreciate when you walk in and tell them that, because you then become a part of the family. It doesn't matter if it's new cars, whether it's used cars, you're using Isaac Bouchard, our broker, whether you get insurance through Paul, whether you're buying a cold air intake, air filter system from K&N, whether you're using Napa. I can go down the list. It doesn't make any difference. Our vet clinic, all of them, please let them know you hear them on Drive Radio. Let's go to John, who's up next. John, welcome. What's going on, sir?
Yeah, hi, this is John in Fort Collins. Just a question for you. In terms of brakes, how many times can you resurface rotors and drums? And reasonably, how long would you expect a new pair of rotors or drums to last?
What kind of vehicle? It really depends on the vehicle. What are we talking about?
Okay, well, my example is my 2006 Nissan Xterra.
On a 06 Xterra, I don't know that I would ever turn them.
Yeah.
They're so thin to begin with.
Right,
That one, if you're having any kind of a hot spot problem, you've done brakes, I would do a replacement on those. I wouldn't even try to resurface them.
Right.
Oh, really? So even like after 35, 40,000 miles, you think they might need to be replaced?
I'd toss them and put new ones on. For the little bit of expense that's there, I would not try to mess with it.
Right. It's just much better to go that route. You're starting out with new pads, new rotors. Just works much better.
Yeah. Now, if it was the reason why I asked what it is, if it was a 76 Chevy pickup, you could turn some of those 2 to 3 times. And as long as you were over the minimum specs, you were fine. But on these later model vehicles, and what I mean by that is, mid 90s and up, most everything on the road today, it's tough to resurface any of them.
Is that because the material's different, or they're just taking wear and tear? Is it
they've made it,
product that's not as good?
To meet the demands of the CAFE ratings, getting the fuel economy as efficient as they can, rotating mass on the axle, anything they can do to lighten that up helps fuel economy. So really what they've done is they've just taken as much metal out of those components as they possibly can,
really?
Figuring that, as time goes by, instead of resurfacing this, the metal's, the metal is recyclable. So, rotors will just go in the metal bin. We'll recycle those into something else, and guy can buy new ones and put them on, and off you go.
Okay, I never thought of it that way. Right? Thanks, guys.
You're very welcome. Appreciate it. And you can. That's really the definition.
You're right. Yeah. I mean, it seems like the rotors seem to wear quite a bit more than they ever used to, too. The pads used to wear out.
It's because pads are harder than they ever were.
Exactly. The organic pads, they just wear out and, not do much to the rotor other than polish them. But nowadays, the rotors seem to be wearing as much as the pads, and they're engineered in there for that.
That's right. Yeah. And that's a good point. I hadn't thought about that either, Ken, because that's the other flip side to that is the hardness of the pads we have today. So the full ceramic pads, even the old semi-metallics weren't as bad as the new ceramics. The new ceramic pads, they're probably taking as much of the rotor away as they are wearing the pad themselves. So, not quite as much.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
But to your point, they are wearing the rotor down.
Yeah.
Just because the surface of the pad is so much harder.
Yeah. And then they're a thinner rotor anyway. And it's engineered in there as a replaceable component at that point. So, all
right, I had a caller call in. This is something to keep in mind for the winter. So again, looking for calls, 303-477-5600. Lines are open. What's the first muscle car? The definition of it. Haven't got that yet. And what is your favorite muscle car? I had a caller call in to Rush to Reason this past week, which I thought was interesting. And this guy had a suggestion. I thought, that's a good suggestion worth mentioning on Saturday. He's one that feels like, especially in the wintertime, but really all the time, when it comes to being prepared for emergency type things, emergency preparedness, blizzards, floods, things that may come up where you don't know what's going to be going on, especially those of you that might travel a little bit further in your vehicle. He keeps 2 backpacks. You could use backpacks or duffel bags or what have you, but he keeps 2 of them, one with food, one with clothing. So he keeps an extra change of clothing, maybe some extra pair of shoes, socks, whatever.
Something warm.
Something warm. Puts all of that in one backpack. And in the other backpack, he puts some bottles of water, some food, some things that would, get him by. And the nice thing about keeping it in a backpack is they're not rolling around. They're not in the way, not taking up a lot of space. You get a mild-sized, backpack and, knapsack, whatever you want to call it. Keep one of each. And, I thought, wow, that's really a good little tip we should mention on Drive Radio.
Yeah, exactly. And for the room that it takes, and then you just rotate the food out and, every month or.
Well, yeah. And if you think about,
months,
and you and I are kind of health conscious kind of guys, Ken, and you and I both know that there are, health bars and powdered drink mixes and things like that literally have a shelf life that you could put them in there for a year.
Yeah.
And probably be just fine. So, once a year or so, go in and rotate out some of those food items. We're not talking about keeping, fresh fruit and canned vegetables and things like that.
You're not going to prepare a meal.
Throw some beef jerky. You need some protein. You need some sort of some energy type drinks. And I'm not really talking, the full, full bore energy drinks, but Ken knows what I'm talking about. There are vitamin type drinks that you could actually mix with some water. Anyways, you put in there what you feel is the right fit.
Yeah.
But to Ken's point, just make sure you're rotating that out on a regular basis. And there's also, all of you out there know there's preparedness stores around that will sell you freeze-dried type food packs, like MREs, like the military uses. You could throw one of those in your backpack and it could stay several years.
You're right. Yeah.
An old MRE would even do that, for that matter.
Yeah.
Those things. What's the shelf life on an MRE? Forever?
Yeah. no nutritional value, but no, I'm just,
I mean,
no, I'm
they've
kidding.
got to last a long
You're
time.
right. Exactly. They're just like water. It tastes like water.
I used to buy
Add
MREs
water.
and we would use those when we were hunting.
Yeah.
They weren't half bad. You know,
Yeah, right.
It kept you from having to make a full bore meal that night.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, it's not like you're eating gourmet, but it's something that's
substance.
Exactly.
Better than nothing.
Yeah, that's right.
We used to do that because when we were bow hunting, you want to try to keep the smell down as much as you want, as much as you could. You wanted to keep it off your clothes and so on. Well, MREs were so easy to heat up. Really not a lot of smell.
Yeah.
It was an easy thing to keep. It was an easy thing to pack in because when you're packing in going bow hunting, you don't have as much weight, and used to use those and they worked pretty well. So we'd buy old MREs at the Army store down in Army surplus store down in Boulder, and they got all the old stuff. So I don't know how old the MREs were by the time we ate them, but we did.
In the 50s, 60s.
Exactly. Either way, they worked out.
That's right.
All right, 303-477-5600. What's your favorite muscle car, and what was the first muscle car? So, Kim, before we go to our next break, what's your favorite muscle car? Or do you have one?
Well, and kind of like we were talking earlier on the guy called on the Impala, and I really like the hardtop two-door 409 Impalas with the 4-speed. They might not have been super
supercars.
You're right, but the lead sled, the things like that, they're just a big, like you said, sleeper, things like that, and I don't know that's my favorite, but that's just one of the ones that stuck in my head when you asked for the first, so it's like, that would be pretty cool to have, and it has that early 60s look, everything kind of rounded and it didn't get so boxy and things. But
car that I've always wanted, never have owned one of these, partly because they've got a really goofy front end and they're hard to work on because the way they do the towers in the front end, but those were the Chevy 2s.
Yeah, and I had a 66 Chevy too, and it was
to me, that was just a good looking car.
Yeah,
I just like the looks of that car. It's a little smaller.
Yeah,
small block Chevy. They were a tough car to do much else with. I mean, they were tough to get a big block in, just because again, the control towers were sitting up front. It was a weird suspension design for them back then.
Yeah, they had the coil over. Right. Yeah, or well, not coil over, but it
was not a McPherson strut. It was kind of the beginnings of that.
The Mustang-ish.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what a lot of people did. Took the Mustang 2 front ends and put under there and made it so. Yeah, because they had to put. That they had a special oil pan on the V8s so they could clear the steering linkage. Yeah, exactly.
This linkage went through the pan, right?
Through the pan, yeah.
Right. I forgot about that.
And I ended up going through 2 pans on mine.
Partially why I've never owned one of those is because they were tough to work on.
They were.
But it'd be a cool car to have and restore.
Yeah, they didn't drive real well because of that front suspension.
No, they didn't.
But they went straight line, really fast.
It was a good looking car.
And it looked good. Yeah.
All right, so let's do this. Let's take a quick break. We'll come back. Randy and Castle Rock, hang tight. We'll get to you as soon as we come back. Don't go away. We'll be right back. John Rush, Ken Rackley, Drive Radio, KLZ 560.
Isn't it ironic that in order to remove engine grease, you need plenty of elbow grease? Well, Napa has you, your engine and your elbows covered. Get Gunk Original Engine Degreaser for $2.99 and get a mail-in rebate good for the entire sale price. That makes it all practically free. The savings continue with the 5-quart Napa Conventional Oil Change Combo with the Napa Silver Oil Filter for $17.99 every day. Conquer the job and your questions with Napa Know-How.
Napa Know-How!
Consider the ramifications of just one of your fleet vehicles breaking down. You get the phone calls, an angry customer due to a missed appointment, a schedule thrown into chaos, work not completed, a hit to your reputation, lost sales, maybe a lost customer, and a bad review. You get to deal with all of it. At Tilden, they know that your vehicles are your business. Without them, your reputation, your cash flow, your day, and maybe your sanity are all on the line. Tilden uses state-of-the-art software to monitor each vehicle in your fleet. They'll set up a schedule to avoid costly repairs by taking care of problems while there's still minor maintenance issues. Protect your profits, minimize downtime, and sleep better. Call Tilden today and join the many fleets, large and small, who know that the fleet is handled. That's fleet maintenance from Tilden. Call 303-797-79.
Today's cars and trucks are very complicated and can be expensive to repair. At Arvada West Auto and Truck, we can help you to understand the complex nature of repairs. We specialize in computer repairs. Maybe you have tried another shop and you still have the same problem. Let our highly experienced technicians at Arvada West Auto help you. Call 303-422-1065 or stop by and see us at Arvada West Auto and Truck, 11752 West 64th Avenue in West Arvada, or visit us on the web at arvadawestautoandtruck.com. 303-422-1065.
Top auto manufacturers admit that today's high-tech engines on average can use a quart of oil every 1,000 miles. Why? To meet the government's fuel economy mandates, they use the faster-moving, low-tension piston rings that can clog quickly, reducing power, causing poor fuel economy. The Performance Oil Service from BG Products cleans piston rings and restores the fuel system. And it's backed up with lifetime protection for the engine. Ask your service advisor about the BG Performance Oil Service or go to bgfindashop.com. That's bgfindashop.com.
BG. Have you ever been ripped off by an auto shop? Chances are you have at least felt like you were, and as a technician myself, I get it. So how do you know who to trust? The answer is to always choose a Colorado Select Auto Care Center. Colorado Select is a hand-picked group of independent shops who all adhere to the highest standards of customer service. They use ASE-certified master technicians who all offer at least a 3-year, 36,000-mile warranty on repairs far exceeding most dealerships. Find a shop nearest you
Rob-
at ColoradoSelect.com.
Rob Black,
in Arvada
yeah.
and Westminster, trust your car to Larry's Automotive and Transmission, the Driveline Pros. They're one of the few ASE-certified repair shops that's also an ATRA-certified transmission facility. Call 303-427-2108. John Rush, Ken Rackley, Drive Radio, KLZ 560. By the way, Ken Rackley is a Tune Tech, which is right off of Colfax and I-225, really just about 1/8 of a mile east of I-225 on Colfax on the north side of the road.
Yep.
Can't
Yep.
miss it.
Been there for a long time.
Drive
it
east,
seems
look
like.
left.
That's right.
That's all you got to do. You'll
That's
run right into it. Piece of cake.
Yeah.
All right, Randy in Castle Rock, you're next, sir.
Hey, good morning, guys.
Morning.
Morning.
With the muscle car, I think you know where I'm going here, but my brother won a lot of trophies in Michigan drag racing, and it was a 67 Belvedere GTX with a 426 Hemi in it.
67 GTX. Okay. We had another email from someone that used the 67 GTX as their favorite also.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
He punched it, and it just pins you to the seat like when you take off in a jet, a Delta or something.
Oh, yeah. I experienced that this last week in that Hellcat. Yeah. I know exactly what you mean.
I bet. I wonder if you might have any ideas on the mystery noise here. I don't know that it matters what vehicle, but it's an 07 Dodge Caliber, and it's got front disc. When I got my windows down, I can hear it from the passenger side. There's kind of like a tick or a click, or it's not that brake wear indicator. I know what that screechy sound is.
Yeah.
But it goes with the speed of the tire. Depends how quick it'll go. If I'm doing 30, click, 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 click. And I'm just wondering if something might be rubbing or something up there,
Or you've got a pad that's loose or something along those lines. Does it go away when you step on the brake?
I don't remember, but I don't remember hearing it when I'm stepping on the brake.
If you're hearing the noise and you lightly step on the brake, if the noise goes away, it's typically something in the brake hardware that's causing that.
Yeah. Yeah, they try to keep those pads from rattling. Maybe the rattle clip or something is gone or not.
Yeah, it sounds like a clip or something, but it's not that indicator.
Right.
Yeah.
It could
be. Yeah, because the other hardware and stuff can make those pads click back and forth.
What if the noise stays when I hit the brake? Then what?
Then there'd be something rotating constantly. Wouldn't be brake related usually. So it would be something have to get in.
I never really paid attention, but so probably it doesn't do it when I hit the brakes because I probably notice it.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And it'd be something, hopefully it would make the noise up on the rack or something like that, and hopefully just track it down.
Maybe a front brake inspection ought to.
Yep. Yeah, like I say, first thing to do for you, even personally, is when next time it's making that noise, it's a nice enough day today, just go out and drive it, get the noise, get the noise to, repeat the noise. What I'm trying to say, make the noise happen, and then just lightly step on the brake. And if it goes away, then you can tell the shop exactly what's going on.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I might even get a free brake inspection. So
there you go. Nothing wrong with that.
All right. Thank you, guys.
You betcha, Randy.
Thanks.
Appreciate it very much. We got a line open, 303-477-5600. Alex and Golden, you're next.
Hi. 64 Tempest.
You're close. You're close. You're really close.
Yeah.
You're in the right area. You're in the right manufacturer, so you're getting close.
Okay. Darn.
Really close.
Keep it to their guess.
Yeah.
You can guess it. You can guess again if you want. We don't care.
Well, I know it's a mid-sized car and a full-size car's power plant.
Yep. That's the definition.
DeLorean had something to do with that, I think. But I don't know.
Yeah.
That's all right.
Yep.
Keep listening. I got an email from somebody that's got the exact right answer. So if nobody else gets it, I'll read what Randy actually texted us or emailed us, I should say, and I'll give you the answer. But by then, I'm guessing somebody will get it. So keep listening, Alex. It'll come. You're not far off right now.
And you'll be like, of course.
Right. Appreciate the phone call, Alex. We got a line open, 303-477-5600. John in Littleton, what's your story?
Yeah, my first car was, and it's probably not the muscle car, but it was the hottest one going in the early 1950s because GM had to start producing the 55 Chevys with the overhead valve, was the 49 Oldsmobile rocket engine. And that was the fastest thing on the road in the early 50s, you know. At least stoplight to stoplight it was anyway.
Yep.
Sure.
Yeah, no, the olds were in their day were pretty fast. Actually, some of the fastest cars out. Actually, some of the Buicks weren't far off of that. But the Oldsmobiles had that rocket engine was fast. It doesn't fit the definition of a muscle car, but you're right, they were fast.
I had a 53 two-door, which had the rocket engine. But the one I bought, I thought was a rocket. It's probably not the right answer. It's probably an Oldsmobile, what you're looking for, but I don't know which one. But anyway, I had a brand new 62 Ford Galaxy 500 Ford 390 4-speed delivered to Gunnison. The Gunnison Motors there, $3,200.
Wow.
Yeah, so that was a pretty fast car.
It was.
My brother took it out one time, and he was going through Gunnison, and there was somebody following him. I'm going to blow this guy off, and he put it in third gear and got on it and run it out through town. But the guy he was trying to blow off was the sheriff.
Yeah.
You know? So he got picked up doing that. But that was a fast car, that 390 and the Ford. You know,
yeah, that doesn't end well when it's the cop you're actually racing.
No, it's
yeah.
But anyway, am I in the right genre? The old.
You're getting close.
Yep.
Yeah. You guys are getting close. Yep. Somebody's going to get it here.
Probably 2 or something. You know.
You guys are getting close. Somebody will get it here before long. John, thanks so much for the phone call. We appreciate it. One line open, 303-477-5600. Randy on Arvada, you're next, sir.
Okay.
Go ahead, Randy.
Oh, I thought you. Okay. I had a question about Suzuki car parts.
Sure.
Do you know you can get basic mechanical parts, not body parts, but under the hood stuff through Suzuki motorcycle dealers? Have you ever heard that that's a possibility?
No,
it is
two
not.
different divisions.
Totally different.
Yeah.
They are not one and the same at all.
Okay. Somebody was telling me that, and I didn't know if there's any truth.
No, there is no truth to that.
Right.
And what is the question? I'm at work, so I just listen to the radio off and on when I'm in the car, but what is the muscle car question?
Question of the day is, what was the first muscle car? You know, according to the definitions that are out there, what was the first true muscle car? And then we've been asking people, what's their favorite muscle car?
Well, I don't know. I haven't been able to hear everybody's responses, but I would guess the first muscle car might be a GTO.
What year?
Oh, 66.
You're close. You got the right model car, wrong year. You're really close.
Oh, dang it. How much did I miss it by? 1?
2.
Okay. It's been 68.
Nope, going the wrong way. You're close. You're close.
Okay.
All right, appreciate it. Let's go to Bob, who's next. Bob and Golden, you're up next.
Good morning, John.
Morning.
Good morning, sir.
Only because one of my classmates got one when we graduated from high school in '64, and there were a lot of jealous guys. 64 GTO.
Yep. Yeah, that's right. It's correct. Yeah, and they, you know the definition of that, and it's probably debatable on was that in fact the true first muscle car. But I think by definition of what people consider muscle cars, mid-sized 2-door car, hard top, big engine, that's the car that started it.
Yep, that was the car we all wanted once we saw it.
Oh yeah,
the old goats.
Yep,
they called them GTO goat.
Yep.
Yeah, and it just took off from there until the embargo happened in the 70s, and that killed the muscle car market.
Yep.
For no reason, really. That's a whole nother. That's a show. That's a daytime topic I should cover. We killed the muscle car market for no reason.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, real quick while I got you on the phone, so that Hellcat I drove, which I should mention this to everybody, right on the window sticker is the $1,700 gas guzzler tax.
Really? Yeah. All right.
Imagine that.
$1,700.
Got to add that right on the old window sticker.
Wow.
Now, don't ask me why that has to be on the window sticker, but it is. Anyways, Bob, appreciate your phone call.
Take care.
You bet.
Hey, thanks.
$1,700.
Wow.
Right on the window. All right, let's go to Hugh, who's up next. We got lines open, 303-477-5600. Hugh, welcome, sir. Hello, Hugh, you there? And I don't hear Hugh. So tell you what, we're close enough to a break. I'm going to put Hugh on hold. We'll get him back on here in just a moment. We got lines open, 303-477-5600. So we got the definition of the first muscle car, which was the 64 Pontiac GTO. So now we'll just keep asking, what is your favorite muscle car of all times? And it could just be what's your favorite fast car of all time. We really don't care. Whatever you want to talk about. And or any questions that you've got. Ken Rackley from TuneTech is with us. We'll answer any questions you've got automotive-wise. And we'll be right back. Don't go away. John Rush, Drive Radio, KLZ 560.
Today's cars and trucks are very complicated and can be expensive to repair. At Arvada West Auto and Truck, we can help you to understand the complex nature of repairs. We specialize in computer repairs. Maybe you have tried another shop and you still have the same problem. Let our highly experienced technicians at Arvada West Auto help you. Call 303-422-1065 or stop by and see us at Arvada West Auto and Truck, 11752 West 64th Avenue in West Arvada. Or visit us on the web at arvadawestautoandtruck.com, 303-422-1065.
Gino's Auto Service in Littleton is your go-to service shop for all your car care needs. Now, for a limited time, have lunch on Gino's. Mention this ad, and with any service work done over $50 on your vehicle, receive a gift certificate for lunch while supplies last. Remember, Gino's is AAA approved, has been in business since 1983, and offers courtesy vehicles while your car is being serviced. They are conveniently located at Bowles and Platte Canyon in Littleton. Have lunch on Gino's. Visit them online at ginosautoservice.com.
This is Isaac Bouchard from Bespoke Autos. The word bespoke means custom tailored, and that's what we do when you're shopping for a car, truck, or SUV. We custom tailor to your needs, whether you're buying new or used, lease or purchase. We also make sure you get the most for any trade-in and can assist with financing. I've been helping people like you find the perfect car for your needs and budget since 1991, and my team at Bespoke Autos will make sure we continue to deliver on this. Find out more at denverautobrokers.org. That's denverautobrokers.org.
We've all been there. You're under the hood and suddenly realize you don't have the parts you need. Or even worse, you don't know what parts you need. Well, at Napa Auto Parts, we have ASE certified parts specialists that'll make sure you find that right part. One covered by a warranty good at any one of 6,000 Napa locations. Yeah, finding the right part might not be easy, but fortunately, finding the right parts store is. Go to NapaOnline.com for the location nearest you. Napa, get the good stuff.
What you suspect is a major problem with your transmission is probably something that requires only a minor repair, for now anyway. Larry's Automotive and Transmission Repair will tell you that nearly all transmission repairs are minor, as long as they can fix it quickly. Once you suspect the transmission, take it to Larry's and have it checked right away, because a simple repair can quickly escalate and become a complete transmission overhaul if you keep driving on it. Larry's Automotive and Transmission would rather save you from that expense if at all possible, and in most cases, a simple repair is all that's necessary. At the very first sign of trouble, call Larry's Automotive and Transmission at 303-427-2108. They're ATRA certified, ASE Master certified, and A+ with a BBB. Recommended by John Rush. Larry's Automotive and Transmission, the Driveline Pros, 303-427-2108.
John Rush here. I want to talk to you about a story I read this past week. A Labrador Retriever had to go in for surgery, and it was found that he had 62 hair bands, 8 pairs of underwear, and a Band-Aid inside of his stomach, which means the dog ate just about anything. So if that were your dog, where would you take him to get that problem solved? Well, I've got just the place. Lone Tree Veterinary Medical Center. The phone number is 303-708-8050. Go to LoneTreeVet.com. They have got the most fantastic facility you will ever see. Everything in one site, from dog grooming to training to their full lab to the surgery center, to you name it, they can take care of it. Cats, dogs, other pets. It doesn't make any difference. If you've got a pet, you need Lone Tree Veterinarian Medical Center. Again, the phone number 303-708-8050. Dr. Bill and Nancy Moyle, they have owned it for a really, really long time. Ages they've owned it. They're longtime listeners of Drive Radio. And you know what? They appreciate the information that Drive Radio gives out. So the best way to support them is give them a call. Have them be your doctor for your pet. It's LoneTreeVet.com. Make sure you tell them that. John Rush from Drive.
Here we go, guys. We're about to start.
All right, John Rush. Ken Rackley, Drive Radio, KLZ 560. It's 11:30 now, halfway through Drive Radio. Got an hour and a half left on an absolutely gorgeous, beautiful Saturday, and I hope you're out enjoying it. I've got some email comments that we'll go through here in just a moment. But Hugh is up next with the first muscle car. Hugh, welcome.
Hi. Yeah, sorry about last time.
That's all right.
I was just turned on your radio like 10 minutes ago, and what little bit I heard of your question of the day, the only thing I can think of is it would be a mid-60s Cougar.
Nope.
It actually had a big engine in it, and it was a mid-sized car.
Yeah, and that's true. A guy called in just before you did. The answer ended up being a 64. Not ended up. The answer is a 64 GTO. That was the first true, quote unquote, true muscle car. Lots of other ones, kind of fit that same description, but that was the actual, beginning to the muscle car era, the 64 GTO.
Wow. Yeah, there were so many that came out about then.
Yep.
Yeah, my favorite muscle car, although this one's not configured that way, is still my first car I've ever owned. I still have it 40 years later. Is my 69 Camaro. I bought it for $500 in 1983. So
Yeah, so what engine's in that car?
Right now it's a 250. I'm an inliner, so I'm a big fan of the inline 6.
Got it.
So I'm thinking about putting it. I have a 292 built and ready to go into it, but I'm thinking about putting it with a blower on it.
Huh.
That'd be cool.
Yeah,
that'd be fun.
Well,
they have a unique sound to them.
Yeah, well, definitely. Well, that's what the short pipes are for.
Right.
It'll be a different sound.
Yep. Yeah. The 6-cylinders really sounded, and not the sound that most people would think of a 6-cylinder, because an inline 6 sounds totally different than what like a V6 does.
Oh yeah, very different. And the other car that I have that kind of pushes this is, I heard the gentleman talking about the Oldsmobile of the 50s.
Yep.
Red light to red light, they were the fastest. But in NASCAR, I have a 52 Hudson Hornet with a 308. And they actually kept kicking butt for about 4 years in the NASCAR circuit. And it wasn't because they were fastest red light to red light. It's because they had such a low center of gravity, and that inline 6 had so much low end torque. They could pull out of the curves really quick.
Interesting.
So out of the 16 races, and I think 51, 13 of them were won by the Hornet.
The fabulous Hudson Hornet.
Yeah.
Yep. So that's in my corral. I have a ton of cars, but those are my two favorites.
All right. Well, so we got a couple of minutes. What else you got?
Well, right now, what I'm driving, there's only 2 in Colorado. This one isn't really a muscle car. It replaced my Geo Metro. I have a Spark EV, a 2014.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And that thing's fast. 0 to 60 in 7 seconds. I had it for 2 weeks and got a ticket in it.
Oh, man.
And I just wish the top speed wasn't 90, because you can blast past that with no effort.
Yeah.
But I have a 66 Chevy too.
That's a great car. We were just talking before you joined the program. We were just talking about that car a little bit ago. That's a car that I've always wanted to own. I've never owned one. That's one of my favorite cars. As far as the way that car looks, it's one of my favorite cars.
Yeah.
Well, this one's interesting because it's from the factory. It has the 283, but it had the Rochester 4-barrel on it.
Okay.
That they put on the 327s.
Yep.
And it had a Power Glide. So
Power
it's
Glide,
really
that's a great car.
That's the exact
from the
same one I
factory,
had.
but it's a weird configuration.
What color is it?
It's the classic kind of metallic sky blue.
Oh, that's a great car.
That was the exact same.
Ken had
vehicle
the
I
same car.
Yeah, I had that same car for about I didn't have it long, but I had it probably 3-4 years.
Wow.
And it was
So how long have you owned that car?
I've had it for probably 8 years.
Wow.
I got it out of Montana Cowfield for $700.
Really? That's it?
Wow.
Yeah, it's weird what you can find on old ranches.
Yeah.
You know,
Did you have to go through and
clean them up?
Did you have to go through and restore it and all that, or is it still the way it
Oh,
was?
yeah. Most of the cars that I get, I don't pay a lot for them, but I'm kind of a garage rat. I'd rather be in the garage and and do it all myself. So even though
Yeah.
I'm not a certified mechanic or anything, the old Chevys, there's not much I couldn't tell you about them.
Sure.
Yeah, they're good. They're fun cars. Oh, that's
Yeah.
great. Good for you.
Yeah.
So yeah, I have a blast with them. I don't get to drive them as often as I like, but
That's all
they're
right.
not trailer queens either.
That's good. No, drivers are the best. That's the most fun to have.
Definitely.
Yep.
People tease me about the little cars, but I put it this way: it's like I drive the little car to work and back, so I can have the money
There
that
you
I
go.
don't spend on gas to put on the nice one.
So speaking of that, your EV Spark. So what's your that's a car that I have not driven. What's the range on that car?
Well, there's only 2 of them in Colorado. They won't be. GM is not allowing them to be sold at all outside of California, Oregon, or Maryland. I'm getting about 110 to 115 miles per charge.
Okay.
And it's about 175 miles per gallon gas equivalent. And the way they figure that out is the complicated answer is the number of BTUs in a gallon of gas versus the number of BTUs to generate equivalent electricity.
Right.
What I tell people is you take a gallon of gas, you dump it in a generator, charge up the car until, the generator stops, and then drive it and see how far you can go.
Makes sense.
And that's probably the closest analogy I can make to it. But I'm getting about 175 miles to a gallon, and there's free charging stations and even four pay ones everywhere. But you don't see them because they look like parking meters.
Right.
Right.
So
Yeah.
if you go to like a Walgreens on the side, there'll be something that looks a little bit like a parking meter.
That's right. Yep. I'm very familiar with those. Yep.
Yeah.
So they're everywhere, but they vary in price.
So did you have to buy that car in California and then drove it out here? How did you do that?
No, this one, there's a couple of things. Number one, if you buy a used EV or hybrid, you do not get the federal tax credit
Okay.
at all. You get
That's
the
right.
Colorado one.
That's right, but you don't get the national one.
Right. And there's also another law in Colorado, and Oregon has the same one, that if a car sits on a dealer's lot and has more than 1,500 miles on it, they're not allowed to sell it as brand new.
That's right.
They
It's a
can't-
used car. That's right.
Exactly right. So this car, I was looking around when I was searching all this. There was a dealer in Oregon that contacted me. He said, "Look, we have a top of the line one that's normally 28,000, but we've been using it as a test drive mule, so it has 1,520 miles on it. So we can't sell it as new." And I said, "Well, has it ever been titled to anybody?" And they said, "No." And I said, "Well, would you be willing to ship it? Because the rule GM has is they are not allowed to sell a new one out of state. Used ones they have no control over."
Got it.
So for $800, they shipped it down to me, sold it at a used price, which was $18,000. And I get the $11,000 federal and Colorado tax credit off that.
Because it was still considered a new car because it's never been titled.
It had never been titled.
But it was used to them, so they were able to bypass the GM rule.
Exactly right,
Yeah, good for
according
you.
to the state law.
Good
So
for you.
it replaced the 93 Geo Metro. And like I said, going to work and back, I just want something economical. And this little booger is fast. but,
Awesome.
like, it doesn't cost me anything to go to work, and that always makes me happy.
Awesome. That's great. Good for you. That's a good story,
So,
Hugh.
If you see me rolling in, don't scratch it.
Right.
Good stuff, Hugh. That's excellent. Good story. I appreciate that.
So cool, yeah, and I'll keep listening.
Yeah, great. No, I appreciate
been listening
that.
for a long time. Usually
Thank
it's
you.
it's on in my garage. So
Thank you, Hugh. Appreciate that very much. Thanks for your faithfulness and enjoy that. Enjoy all your cars. You got a good fleet.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I love them. So,
That's awesome.
Cool.
Good for you.
Talk to you soon.
All right, Hugh. Appreciate it very much. That's a good story.
Yeah, exactly. You
I-
know,
I-
if you find enough, if you look hard enough, you can
find
usually
what you need.
yeah, exactly.
That's a great story. He
That's
did
really
really
good.
well on that car.
Yeah,
$28,000, paid $18,000 and got an $11,000 federal tax credit.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
we could all use that.
at the end of the day, not a bad deal. So good job. Appreciate that. Now,
They actually have one of the better looks of the.
yeah, I was just looking at it.
all-electric,
Yeah, it's
too.
not a bad looking
Yeah.
car. No, it's
Yeah.
exactly right. So
Could have sworn I saw one yesterday, but if he said there's only two, that chances are pretty slim that I had seen one. But
it doesn't look like a normal Spark. So
Right.
it is a totally,
Yeah.
I shouldn't say totally different looking vehicle, but it's got a totally different look to it. It does. So, all right, lines open. 303-477-5600. We've been asking what the first muscle car was. We've got that one solved. We then moved on to what's your favorite muscle car of all time. Now, we'll also take just general questions. Anything you've got, let us know. It doesn't matter what it is. 303-477-5600. So we've got lots of different answers that came in via email. One person said Pontiac Le Mans compact car with a big block. Well, that was close. So Dan, if you're listening on that one, that was close. Another guy says it was a 62 Dodge drag pack 413 cubic inch No radio, no heater. He's asking, was it a Coronet? Well, a couple of years too early. It was a 64 GTO, although that car that he's talking about was a very notable car, no doubt about it. Somebody else writes in, Dave, a 67 and 69 Chevelle plus the 66 and 67 Chevy 2s, first muscle cars. That's a tough one. Even AMC had the Rebel in 57, but in the early 60s, Dodge Dart with a 413 Max Wedge. Also, one question on filters, K&N or Napa filter, or are they about the same? Well, we explained this a few weeks ago, Dave, and if you do the premium Napa filter, so their platinum filter, if you would, not the gold filter, but the actual platinum filter, that's their top of the line, versus K&N's top of the line filter, not the billet aluminum changeable filter that they've got as far as oil filters go, but just K&N's top of the line filter. They're both very equivalent to one another. The advantage K&N gives you is if you're a do-it-yourselfer and you like that nut embossed on the top of the filter to where it makes it a little bit easier to get it on and off, if that's something that you really enjoy, then buy the K&N. As far as quality of the media, how that works, etc., they're both a very top-of-the-line, high-grade filter. Now, if you want to go one step further, and I looked at these the other day, K&N does have on some engine applications, they make it for a Duramax, by the way, Ken.
Mm-hmm.
They actually make a billet aluminum. It's about $250. It's a billet aluminum filter that you actually clean the oil filter itself, just like you do their air filters. Clean it out in a solvent tank, let it dry, put it back in, off you go. And the media is way smaller, so it's got smaller microns than your typical run-of-the-mill oil filter has, but it's $250.
And it's a lot more labor intensive.
It's more labor intensive when you go to do it. But for some guys that are going to drive a Duramax, sure, 500,000 miles, okay, well, at $250 really isn't much over the lifetime of that.
You're right, yeah, because you figure
you'll save money.
25 a shot.
That's
anyway,
right. Yeah, that's right. They're about $25-$30 for a filter.
Exactly.
So over time, you would save that.
That's right.
So food for thought. So that's the answer on that one. So Dave, if you're listening, that those premium filters, whether it be the Napa Platinum or the K&N, you're both in good hands, or you're in good hands with either one of those. That they would work fine. 303-477-5600. Give us a call. We'll get you right on air. Lines are open. What's your favorite muscle car? And then on top of that, any other questions you've got. John Rush here. Ken Rackley from TuneTech. We'll be right back. Don't go away. Drive Radio coming up. KLZ 560.
Hello, Drive Radio listeners. This is Chris Hammond with Ken's and Leslie Distributing, your local BG products distributor. Back again this week with your BG Tech Tip. This week, we're going to take a look at driveline fluids. Now, according to the owner's manual of one best-selling for 33 years running light-duty pickup truck for the current model year, the differential and transfer case fluids are good for up to 150,000 miles, unless you happen to follow into one of these conditions: driving in the mountains, towing a trailer, low-speed driving, dusty or sandy conditions, off-road operations, or any time the differential is submerged in water, whether it's frozen or not. Now, if you meet any of those conditions, the lifetime of that fluid drops by more than half, and they recommend replacing it 60,000 miles. The moral of the story is, whether you're driving in the mountains or you're driving in the city, extreme temperatures on your driveline components can rapidly reduce the additive package in the gear oils for those components. And when that happens, the fluid loses its ability to lubricate in those high shear forces in those gearboxes, thus putting those expensive driveline components at risk. So how do you solve this? We recommend that at every 30,000 miles, you have a certified technician check the condition of those fluids and advise on replacement at that time. Thanks again, Drive Radio listeners. This is Chris Hammond with BG Products. We'll be back again next week with your BG Tech Tip.
At Napa Auto Parts, we've been the most trusted name in auto parts for over 80 years. Probably because we've never stopped looking for ways to make the great parts we sell even better. It's a commitment to quality you'll find in every one of our 310,000 parts. From the bacteria-killing surface on our cabin air filters, to the patented damping mechanism on our drive-align belt tensioners, to our revolutionary new Adaptive One brakes. And Napa parts are covered by a warranty that's good at any of our 6,000 Napa Auto Parts stores nationwide. Yeah, maybe you don't get this at your average auto parts store, but at Napa, we've spent the last 80 years making sure we were anything but average. To find the Napa Auto Parts store nearest you, go to NapaOnline.com. Napa, get the good stuff.
With over 125 locations in Colorado, southern Wyoming, and western Nebraska, there's only one place to get the good stuff: Napa Auto Parts.
Your wheel alignment can affect tire wear and fuel mileage that will cost you more for repairs and fuel. Arvada West uses state-of-the-art 3D imaging to align all four wheels of your vehicle. Be aware that irregular tire wear could also cause the need for additional alignment parts. Stop in or call us for our alignment special. Mention this ad and we'll inspect your vehicle and check your alignment starting at $69.95. Call Arvada West Auto at 303-422-1065. Stop by 11752 West 64th Avenue or visit us on the web at arvadawestautoandtruck.com.
We breathe dirty air every day, and believe it or not, the air you breathe inside your vehicle can be even more polluted than the air outside. Thankfully, many of the vehicles sold today are equipped with a cabin air filter to help keep the air inside your car clean. If you are driving a car with a dirty or clogged cabin air filter, not only are you breathing dirty air, but it also puts a strain on your car's HVAC system, decreasing its performance and longevity. K&N, the inventor of washable automotive air filters, has applied its decades of high-flow, washable air filter design to cabin air filters for cars and trucks. These robust filters clean and freshen the air coming into your car's interior and are electrostatically charged to hold dust and dirt. They feature a pleated filter media that helps capture most mold, mildew, fungus, spores, bacteria, germs, pollen, and other allergens, while still allowing a high volume of airflow. They are strengthened by a custom design frame for a great fit and years of use. Best of all, K&N cabin air filters are washable and clean up easy with the K&N Refresher Cabin Air Filter Cleaning Kit. They typically only need cleaning every 12 to 15,000 miles or once a year, but you can wash them more often if you'd like, and K&N backs them up with a 10-year, 100,000-mile limited warranty. They come with easy-to-follow installation instructions so you can easily replace your old filter, usually in 5 to 10 minutes. Keep the air inside your car clean and fresh without continually burying and throwing away disposable filters. Find the K&N washable cabin air filter for your car or truck at knfilters.com. That's knfilters.com.
How stressful. You hear a noise, see a fluid leak, feel something funny, a little light comes on your dash, or your car totally breaks down, and you have no idea what it means, what to do, or how to fix it. With how much we depend on our cars to go about our daily lives, you'd think they'd teach us this stuff in school. Luckily for you, you have us. At Community Auto, we're serious about what we do, and we're darn good at it. Having served Fort Collins and Northern Colorado for over 20 years, our family-owned and operated AAA-approved shop has family that extends far beyond our garage doors.
At Community Auto, we put the emphasis on care, not just auto repair. Ladies, ever felt intimidated going into an auto repair shop? Scared you'll be taken advantage of? Our female staff is friendly, knowledgeable, and will thoroughly explain and educate you on what's going on with your car. You'll be in the know and in turn be taken care of. Because at Community Auto, we know that a happy car will get you far.
Here are the 3 C's of high performance in less than 60 seconds. Your engine piston rings must have good compression, which makes good combustion, which saves cash at the pump. But you lose compression when piston rings clog with carbon. Today's engines use low tension rings, which clog much easier, which lowers compression, combustion, and the amount of cash in your pocket, with higher fuel cost and expensive repairs. This problem can be fixed as fast as your next oil change. The best service shops use a BG product that cleans the engine and accomplishes the 3 C's in just 15 minutes. It has 3 letters, EPR, as in Engine Performance Restoration, that cleans piston rings and restores compression, which increases and saves you. Find a shop with BG products at bgfindashop.com. That's bgfindashop.com. So, at your next oil change, remember the 3 C's. You will find more of this in your engine and this in your pocket when you clean your engine with BG.
John Rush, Drive Radio, KLZ 560. So, Randy, I should say, sent this in and really had an answer earlier, but The obvious answer, as far as I'm concerned, is a 64 GTO. It all depends on what your definition of a muscle car is. To me, it's a mid-sized two-door sedan or hardtop or convertible in a few cases with a large, high-horsepower V8, and it must have its own dedicated model name and an upgraded suspension system. Some people include certain pony cars such as the Hemi Cuda, the Shelby GT350, or sports cars like the Corvette or the 427 Cobra. I don't. Some even say the 55 Chrysler 300 was the first muscle car, but it doesn't really meet that definition because it's a full-size car. My favorite muscle car was a 67 Plymouth GTX. There was plenty of high horsepower, mid-sized Mopar cars that preceded the 64 GTO, but Pontiac was the first to apply a dedicated model name to their big engine mid-sized car. That's my definition.
Yep, and
that's it.
Yeah, and,
I think he's right on the money.
And a lot of those, a lot of those certain, definitions and cars were mentioned prior to the 64 GTO too.
Exactly right.
Yeah.
So I've had a few other trivia questions I was going to throw at you guys, but hey, keep calling in. 303-477-5600. Lines are open. Questions, comments, anything else you want to talk about, let us know. One of the things that was mentioned in here, got to go back and find this, is where did they get the name Mopar? We've been talking a lot about the Mopar cars today, mainly because of the Challenger and the Charger Hellcat. So
Sure.
where does the original acronym, Mopar, what did that stand for? Where'd that come from is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. And, I guess,
because as a kid, we always just said Mopar, but where did that come from?
Yeah. I couldn't tell you.
So there's trivia question number 2. We'll start this one. We got the first one answered. Where did Mopar come from? Larry's in there mouthing something. I couldn't read his lips, but he's Googling it right now. Where did Mopar come from? It's widely accepted as referring to any and all high-performance offerings from Chrysler's auto divisions, past or present, such as Dodge, Plymouth, or the SRT8 versions, which, by the way, SRT stands for Street Racing and Technology Division.
Nice.
That's what SRT stands for.
Yeah. Street
Racing and Technology. And I will tell you what, those guys at Chrysler right now, and we were talking through the break a little bit, like Fiat, hate them, you got your own opinions, I realize, but I can tell you this right now. Marchione, who's in charge of all that, he is a car guy. And he has got a lot of these initiatives, the SRT8 program, or the SRT program, I should say, the Viper coming back. A lot of those things are coming because of Marchione. And he's a car guy and loves cars. And he has put, FCA he's put Chrysler back on the map when it comes to the products that they've come out with and developed. And you'd have to drive that Hellcat to really understand what I'm talking about. A car that is so extremely fast, it's scary, but yet you could drive on the street like a normal car on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah, as long as you don't put it too far, put the gas pedal too far down, you're just like a normal vehicle.
Just use the black key. I was telling the guys at break, there's a black key fob and a red key fob.
Yeah.
The red key fob opens everything up. I took videos of that, and I'll try to get those up on YouTube here at some point. But the red key fob opens everything up, gives you all the horsepower. The black key fob, I don't know how far back it limits things. I need to study that and see how far the black fob limits it. But significantly, the red key definitely opens things up. But the car, the car's fat, and a regular SRT, just a regular Challenger or Charger SRT, I tell you what, they're a fast car all by themselves without even having the Hellcat version of it. The car's fast. They work really well.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, the State Patrol wouldn't be using those Chargers if they were some sort of a, chump vehicle. I mean, they work really well.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
When I was in that SRT or that Hellcat, we pulled up next to a State Patrolman. I did a little video and took some pictures, and so I pulled up next to a State Patrolman. I said, "Okay, so when are they getting you guys this car?" He's like, "Never."
Everybody be fighting over it.
He was kind of smiling, and I said, on the same token, the cars you're driving are pretty fast. He says, "Oh yeah," no, he says the cars we're driving are pretty quick. He said they work pretty well. So we had a pretty little short conversation there, but he was kind of looking over like, what, he kind of, he knew what the car was.
Exactly.
Don't kid yourself. He knew what the car was.
Yeah.
But anyways, it was fun.
Should have thrown in there, hey, you want to run them?
Knowing as many of them as they were that day, I'm not thinking they were too keen on that.
Right, exactly. It's like, I'm going to pull you over just for saying that.
he was actually a really nice guy.
Yeah.
Thank you for what he was
betcha.
doing and so on. But no, it was the day we did all those test drives. It was actually a very busy day out on the road as far as the State Patrol was concerned. So the other cars I got to drive: ATS-V, a Ram Rebel, which is sort of the F-150 Raptor version of the Ram side of the fence.
Oh, okay.
Drove a new Ford F-150, which the first time I've actually been behind the wheel of the F-150, the EcoBoost V6 engine on the new F-150. And I will tell you, after being behind the wheel of the car, or the truck, I should say, you know what? That truck works really well. I was actually pleasantly surprised at how well that truck worked. So those of you that have called in and asked about the F-150, several features on the truck I really liked. Got a really slick tailgate. The way the tailgate works, it's got a lot of interior room. It's got these seat massagers in it, Ken, that you can control from the dash as far as where the radio and audio is controlled. You can actually get a massage going down the road, passenger or driver's seat in a truck.
Wow.
Go figure.
That's pretty. Now, is that massage going to put you to sleep? That would be my.
I asked them that.
Turn the heat on.
I asked them that. What they're claiming, what the manufacturers are claiming, is they're trying to reduce driver fatigue.
Sure. No, that makes total sense.
And they figure a guy driving a truck, hauling long distances, so on, they're trying to reduce driver fatigue.
Yeah.
They think they can actually help with accidents by doing that, which we've got some articles. Speaking of accidents, I'll get to in just a minute. Mark and Cheyenne, you're next, sir.
Hello, how are you guys
Doing
today?
great, Mark. Good.
I'm going to tell you right now, I cheated on the Mopar definition.
That's okay.
Okay, here's what I found. 1920s, it came out, the term first used. And it stood for manufactured original parts.
Manufactured original parts. Yep, it's an acronym for the Chrysler Motor Parts is essentially
Correct.
what it is. Yep,
And
Mopar.
Then later on, they said in the 50s and 60s, it started becoming an acronym for car enthusiasts.
Oh, car enthusiast. Okay.
All right?
Okay, good stuff. Appreciate it, Mark. Thanks for the phone call. All right, we got another full hour of Drive Radio coming up next. Anything you want to add, any questions, any comments, any tips, tricks, anything at all, that's what we're here for. I'm with you. Ken Rackley is with you. He's from Tune Tech out in the Roar area. And real quick, Ken, why don't you give everybody your address and phone number?
Yeah, we're out at 14851 East Colfax. It's about a block and a half west of Chambers, between Chambers and Sable. And phone number is 303-364-3391.
And we've got Larry's Automotive and Transmission. Larry is with us as he is every single week, taking your calls, getting things set up for us on the production side of the fence. And he's at Larry's Automotive and Transmission in the Westminster area. 303-427-2108 is their phone number. That one I've got memorized by now because I say it enough every single day that I finally have memorized it. So anyways, Larry's Automotive and Transmission. I'm going to be right back. So will Larry. So will Ken. So will Mindy. Don't go away. Hour 3 coming up next on Drive Radio right here on KLZ 560.
Still haven't had enough? Go to drive-radio.com. Email your questions and comments. Download previous programs and find lots of useful information, including your nearest Colorado Select Auto Care Center. That's drive-radio.com. Thanks for listening to Drive Radio, sponsored by the member shops of Colorado Select Auto Care Centers on KLZ 560.
Drive Radio is a presentation of Colorado Select Auto Care Centers. The independently owned and operated shops of Colorado Select hold each other accountable for the highest standards of technical expertise, honesty, and professionalism. They all understand that choosing a mechanic is risky business. So Colorado Select was created by this exclusive group of like-minded professionals who are dedicated to raising the level of consumer confidence in Colorado's auto repair industry. Schedule your next oil change at any of the Colorado Select Auto Care Centers heard on Drive Radio, and you'll immediately see the difference. For the complete list of all the member shops in the state, visit drive-radio.com.
On the next Wake Up with Steve Curtis, we dissect the second Republican presidential debate, who won, who lost, and why it matters at this point in the presidential race. Our special guest is Professor Paul Gottfried, a noted political philosopher, economist, and author, and a critic of neoconservatism in the Republican Party. It all begins at 6 a.m. right here on the next Wake Up with Steve Curtis.
Don Rusher on the next Rush to Reason, Richard Giordano. He's going to talk about his new book, Supercharged Leadership. You won't want to miss it. We'll have traffic and weather updates, and of course, we'll take all of your calls. That's the next Rush to Reason in the evening rush hour every weekday from 3 to 6 p.m. right here on KLZ 560.
freedom, liberty, truth. KLZ AM 560, KLZ HD Denver.
Listen live at klz560radio.com.
KLZ 560.
This is USA Headline News. I'm Melody Burkett. North Korea says it's ready to launch nuclear weapons on the U.S. Here's CNN reporter Barbara Starr.
North Korea has already shown the world it can launch a satellite into space. Now, U.S. intelligence believes sometime in the next few weeks, the regime will do it again. But this time in secret. North Korea insists its only plan, launching the satellite on top of a long-range rocket.
Donald Trump says it's not his job to correct supporters' claims about the president, defending his decision not to take issue with a man who put down Muslims and said President Obama is not an American. But Trump did not dispute the man's allegations made at a town hall event this week and added that if someone criticized him to Obama, there would be no chance the president would come to his defense. For the USA Headline News, I'm Melody Burkett.
Individuals and businesses with tax problems, listen carefully. If you owe over $10,000 in back taxes or have unfiled tax returns, U.S. Tax Shield can help you take back control. The IRS can seize your bank accounts, garnish your paycheck, close your business, and file criminal charges. Our team of tax attorneys can stop collections and get you protected. U.S. Tax Shield offers a price protection guaranteed quote to get you protected today. U.S. Tax Shield is A+ rated with the BBB, so call 800-479-2697. U.S. Tax Shield, 800-479-2697.
Remember when a small business needed a landline? Today, the world is your office with Grasshopper, the entrepreneur's phone system. On the road, at the beach, or at home, Grasshopper helps you grow your business with all the features of a business phone system and the freedom of a cell phone. Features include multiple extensions for your team, calls forwarded to your mobile phones, voicemails transcribed and emailed, and so much more. See how it works at grasshopper.com, the entrepreneur's phone system.
KLZ Denver.
John Rush during the afternoon rush, weekdays from 3 to 6 on KLZ 560.
Being an expert on general automotive knowledge, what would the correct ignition timing be on a 1955 Bel Air Chevrolet with a 327 cubic inch engine and a 4-barrel carburetor?
It is a trick question.
Watch this.
The Chevy didn't make a 327 in 55. The 327 didn't come out till 62. And it wasn't offered in the Bel Air with a 4-barrel carb till 64. However, in 1964, the correct ignition timing would be 4 degrees before top dead center.
Get ready for another hour of Drive Radio, brought to you by Colorado Select Auto Care Centers. Got a question for the experts? Then give them a call, 303-477-5600. Now it's time to pop the hood and get our hands dirty. Drive Radio on KLZ 560 The Source.
All right, hour 3, Drive Radio. I'm your host, John Rush, Ken Rackley. And I would say call in early, call in fast, and we'll get as many in as we can in this last hour, because after that, we're done.
We're done for the...
We're out of here for another week.
That's right.
So give us a call, 303-477-5600. Jim in Greeley, you're up next. What's going on, sir?
Hi, thanks for the program. Tell you what I have a 2004 Dodge diesel truck, and its purpose is to tow a fifth wheel trailer, which the weight grosses out when I'm ready to camp about 9,000 pounds. It does have 107,000 miles on it now. And I wanted to ask the transmission. They keep telling me Dodge transmissions are weak. This is an automatic transmission. I've been changing fluid about every 30,000 miles, maybe 40,000 miles.
Okay.
And on the last change, they found a part down there from what they said was up in the overdrive. So they went in and replaced that for me.
Okay.
Then he made some comment about the clutches were a little concerned or something. So my question really is, what can I be doing other than what I'm doing now to try to keep this transmission together as long as I can?
That's it. Keep flushing fluid.
Yeah.
And, try to be as easy on it as you can. Have you put an external oil cooler, transmission cooler on it yet?
Oh, No, I have not.
That's not a bad idea on those trucks. That helps immensely. That was the weak link in that truck. They had, 5.9 engine was absolutely fantastic. The rest of the running gear was great. That 4-speed, overdrive transmission was the weak link in that truck. But anything you can do to keep the transmission cooler, and what I mean by that is add a high efficiency cooler to it. Anything you can do to keep the tranny temp down, even adding a gauge to it where you can watch the temperature is not a bad idea.
Oh, okay. Now that cooler you spoke of, if I go into, I work with a local diesel guy here. He's really good. If I told him that's what I needed, why, do you have any idea of the ballpark figure of what something like that would cost?
Typically, a high efficiency tranny cooler is going to be probably somewhere in the $150 range plus the install part of it. So, in today's world, to get it plumbed right, done correctly, where it's not just hacked together, but it's really done properly, you'll spend probably $400 to $500 getting a tranny cooler put on.
Okay, that sounds.
And it's well worth doing, by the way. But here's the deal: you want the high performance. And for example, I just went to Summit's, just because it's easy. I went to Summit Racing's website. They have a high efficiency cooler. Earl's makes one. You want one that's got banjo type fittings. It's a high efficiency plate type unit, so it doesn't look like a normal radiator with the tubes in it. You want a high efficiency type cooler. They're usually made out of a billet aluminum. They cost more money. This one's $150. So you're going to spend that kind of money to get a good cooler.
Okay, that sounds like a really good suggestion. You also mentioned the temperature gauge. Now, if I put this cooler on, would I also have them install a temperature gauge?
You could. They make there's different companies out there. Autometer. Sorry, just the name just slipped my.
Right.
Autometer actually makes what they call pillar gauges, where you can actually put a pod on the pillar and put the gauge right there, where it's right in front of your eye. You don't have to mess the dash or anything up. It's a really nice, clean install. You can paint the pillar the same color of the dash that's there now in the truck, so that everything matches and looks good. And you just put that thing on the side, put your temp gauge right there, and off you go.
Yeah, and if you want to add more gauges too,
if you want to put a boost gauge on for the turbo, you can. However you want to do it.
Yeah.
What kind of temperature would you be looking at in the tranny? Yeah, I understand. I'm a kind of start and go type of guy here, so
you want to keep it under 300.
Okay. Well, you know what? That really helps me, and I really appreciate it. By the way, you asked about muscle cars, and I don't know of any of under the definition that you were asking about. I'm more the start and go type. So anyway, hey, thanks again for the info.
No, you're very welcome. You're very welcome. Appreciate the phone call. So, the other thing, and Ken, they make I think they make a 3-pod. They might even make a 4, but I know they make a 3-pod pillar, if you would. And some of them even come with the gauges pre-installed where you could actually do trans temp, boost, and exhaust temp.
Yeah.
Which on a diesel, monitoring those 3 things, not a bad deal to do.
Right. Exactly. Especially if you're pulling hills, towing trailers.
In that vintage, in that year, in that era, we did a ton of those.
Yeah.
Back in the day.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
And
exactly.
A lot of the newer trucks now come with that. In fact, I was talking to Ken earlier. The new Ram trucks, the new Ford trucks, the new GM trucks. They've all now got the ability. In fact, the new Denali truck I drove when I was actually on this ride and drive, there was a Denali with a Duramax engine. They've even gotten the point now, Ken, where on the digital readout on the dash, when you switch to the tow haul mode, it actually changes from coolant temp to tranny temp. Changes from volts to tranny temp when you hit the tow mode button on the end of the shifter.
Nice.
So that it's cool. It kind of it throws one gauge out, brings another gauge in, and says, "Okay, now start watching tranny temp."
Okay.
So it tells you that you should be monitoring that if you're in that towing mode.
Yeah. Well, that makes total sense.
Kind of a cool feature that those have got.
One like on our 04 Silverado, it had the trans temp gauge, and just on the instrument cluster. Well, on the 08. After we got rid of the 04, the 08, it's just on the, you have to scroll
on the digital readout, right?
On the digital readout.
I like it on the gauge better.
Right. When you can keep an eye on it. You're right. Exactly.
No, I agree with you there.
So, but at least it's still available.
And that's right.
But
and those things can still be added. So just food for thought. So we left off that last hour talking about some of the driver aids that are out now from massaging seats. There's lane departure warnings. I'm actually driving a little Mazda, the CX-3. Their little kind of SUV crossover version, if you would, this particular week. And that particular car's got it's a $29,000 car, has lane departure warning on it, has adaptive cruise, has, I shouldn't say adaptive cruise, tells you how far you are from the vehicle in front of you. It's not adaptive, but it tells you, the collision warning side of the fence is there.
Oh, okay.
So all of these features are there. Larry brought an article in today, and the reason they're doing this is they're trying to help driver fatigue is what they're doing. So auto braking, it's called AEB systems. It's designed to help reduce the number of crashes because the vehicle will actually slam on the brake and keep you from running into the car in front of you. There are 10 different automakers that by 2018 are going to try to have that on the majority of their particular vehicles. It's Audi, BMW, Ford, GM, Mazda, Mercedes-Benz, Tesla, Toyota, Volkswagen, Volvo. They're all going to do their best. They've actually made it a kind of an internal mandate to have AEB standard on their future vehicles.
Okay.
So you're going to have it.
Right. Yeah.
What's it going to do for us in the aftermarket? We're just going to learn how to work on those systems.
Yeah. And it's probably, other than your sensors,
the interface.
Yeah. Right. Exactly.
Radar.
I mean, it's going to be just like they just have to adapt that into your ABS systems.
So all they're using on that is a radar to determine how far are you from the vehicle in front of you.
Exactly.
And surprisingly enough, as many of these new cars that I drive, they work. I was able to drive all the way up to the Winter Park area this last week as a part of this drive. I drove the new Honda Pilot, which, by the way, really, really nice car. Love the looks of the car. They've done a great job. Honda, of course, is well known for their stability, longevity, just the way the quality of that vehicle is built. The Pilot, $46,000, full three-row passenger vehicle. Lane departure, not just the warning, but literally turns the steering wheel for you to keep you between the lanes, automatic braking, adaptive cruise control. You literally can set adaptive cruise control, hit that lane departure system if you would, and literally just kind of sit back, keep your hands on the wheel because it'll tell you if they're not, but your input as a driver and as far as the driver fatigue goes is greatly reduced.
I'll be there.
And that's what they're trying to, and the rep drove up with me, the Honda rep drove up with me. And the idea there is to literally reduce driver fatigue. They feel like they can keep things safer if they can just get rid of some of the driver fatigue. So there's where the massaging seats, lane departure, adaptive cruise, all those things come into play to reduce the driver stress. Now, some out there say, oh, you just got a bunch of lazy drivers. Well, maybe, but if we can reduce driver fatigue, the chances of somebody driving off the road and running into another vehicle, having those types of problems, all of that's reduced.
Yeah.
When are fully automated cars coming? They're coming, trust me.
Well, and a good point to that would be I drive Parker Road pretty much every night coming home from work and going home. So I'm heading southbound, and there traffic northbound is probably 3 to 4 days a week is backed up between Orchard and Arapahoe Road because of an accident. And it's always a front, it was always a rear end collision.
This would avoid that. So you would help even traffic congestion out by doing this.
Issues
That's
like
exactly
that.
right. No, you're exactly right, kid.
So it's, And
no, you're right. It's exactly what it is. All right, let's do this. We'll take a call as soon as we get back. 303-477-5600. Anything you want to ask, give us a call. We'd love to hear from you. I'll throw a few more trivia questions out, but hey, give us a call. We want to chat with you. Any questions you've got? I know it's an absolutely beautiful day, but hey, there's some things you need to do for your vehicle to get ready for winter. If you don't call, we're going to tell you what those things are. So 303-477-5600. John Rush Drive Radio, KLZ 560.
Isn't it ironic that in order to remove engine grease, you need plenty of elbow grease? Well, Napa has you, your engine and your elbows covered. Get Gunk Original Engine Degreaser for $2.99 and get a mail-in rebate good for the entire sale price. That makes it all practically free. The savings continue with the 5-quart Napa Conventional Oil Change Combo with the Napa Silver Oil Filter for $17.99 every day. Conquer the job and your questions with Napa Know-How.
Napa Know-How! Gino's Auto Service in Littleton is your go-to service shop for all your car care needs. Now, for a limited time, have lunch on Gino's. Mention this ad, and with any service work done over $50 on your vehicle, receive a gift certificate for lunch while supplies last. Remember, Gino's is AAA approved, has been in business since 1983, and offers courtesy vehicles while your car is being serviced. They are conveniently located at Bowles and Platte Canyon in Littleton. Have lunch on Gino's. Visit them online at genosautoservice.com.
At Arvada West Auto, we know that fluids are the life of your vehicle. They are also complicated, with all the different types from motor oil to gear oils to coolant. The types of fluids, service procedures, and intervals can vary widely. Let us help you sort out what your vehicle needs and when it needs to be serviced. Stop in or call us at Arvada West Auto, 11752 West 64th Avenue, 303-422-1065. You can visit us on the web at arvadawestautoandtruck.com.
This is Isaac Bouchard, Drive Radio sponsor. Since 1991, I've helped my clients save more than $1 million when buying or leasing a new or used car, truck, or SUV. I created my company, Bespoke Autos, to bring this level of service to a wider audience, just the kind of discerning individuals who tune into Drive Radio every week. We handle every unpleasant part of buying a vehicle. We take trade-ins, we can arrange financing, and with decades of experience, our team can truly custom tailor a vehicle to fit your needs. Find out more at denverautobrokers.org. That's denverautobrokers.org.
We breathe dirty air every day, and believe it or not, the air you breathe inside your vehicle can be even more polluted than the air outside. Thankfully, many of the vehicles sold today are equipped with a cabin air filter to help keep the air inside your car clean. If you are driving a car with a dirty or clogged cabin air filter, not only are you breathing dirty air, but it also puts a strain on your car's HVAC system, decreasing its performance and longevity. K&N, the inventor of washable automotive air filters, has applied its decades of high-flow, washable air filter design to cabin air filters for cars and trucks. These robust filters clean and freshen the air coming into your car's interior and are electrostatically charged to hold dust and dirt. They feature a pleated filter media that helps capture most mold, mildew, fungus, spores, bacteria, germs, pollen, and other allergens, while still allowing a high volume of airflow. They are strengthened by a custom design frame for a great fit and years of use. Best of all, K&N cabin air filters are washable and clean up easy with the K&N Refresher Cabin Air Filter Cleaning Kit. They typically only need cleaning every 12 to 15,000 miles or once a year, but you can wash them more often if you'd like, and K&N backs them up with a 10-year, 100,000-mile limited warranty. They come with easy-to-follow installation instructions so you can easily replace your old filter, usually in 5 to 10 minutes. Keep the air inside your car clean and fresh without continually burying and
10 seconds.
filters. Find the K&N washable cabin air filter for your car or truck at knfilters.com. That's knfilters.com.
All right, John Rush, Ken Rackley, Drive Radio, KLZ 560. It is now 12:19 on a Saturday afternoon, and we've got a little over 30 minutes left. So call us. We'll get you right on air, 303-477-5600. Ron and Thornton, you're next.
Hey, good morning.
Morning.
Morning, sir.
I have someone's probably already brought this up. I've been to call you since July. I went in to renew my plates, and they said, that I need to have emissions done. And so I went in to renew my plates, and they charged me for the emissions, $25. I couldn't figure that one out.
You must have, did it say, it said no emissions required, but you probably were on the year where it actually was, but you'd probably been through enough of the mobile test lanes, not the test lanes, the mobile testing sites that they put out on the sides of the road. If you hit 2 of those within a certain amount of time with a passing grade, if you would, going through those, you automatically don't have to go to the emissions center, but they do still charge you the $25. That's most likely what happened to you.
Right, the remote sensing
right
on the highway entrances usually.
That's just well, something I never had done.
Yeah, and it's an automatic thing that happens, and if you just get, you can purposely find those and drive through them before your license plates come up if you're on a year that you actually need to renew the emissions side of the fence. If you can get lucky enough to find those, which those are actually listed on the EnviroTest website, you can actually find those.
Oh.
In your case, you just happen to find 2 of them within I think it's the 30 or 45 day time frame, and off you go.
Yeah.
And they did say though the next year I don't need emissions and I don't have to pay for it.
That's exactly right.
They
won't
charge
charge
you. I
you.
had just one quick question.
Sure.
you used to have a rewards card. I was just wondering why you guys did away with that. I really like that.
We didn't. Well, let me explain that. We still have it. I'm working on an upgrade. The old technology is just getting old enough that we've got to, renew that and upgrade the technology. I've got a meeting set with the guy that's in charge of that program. So stay tuned. We're going to bring that back. We just have to use new technology for it.
Okay.
It'll probably
you guys have a great day.
It'll probably be more based off of just your smartphone, computer, whatever, to where the guys don't have to have a terminal and things like that. We're going to make that easier. So he's working on that, and I'm supposed to get more details in the very near future.
Oh, that sounds great.
So it'll come back.
I really like it.
And the points will
really
transfer and all that, so don't worry about that.
Okay.
All right, Ron. Appreciate it. Thanks very much. So, Larry actually texted me earlier this week and said, where are we at? What's going on? I've got a meeting with Brian, our guy that's actually in charge of that. So stay tuned. We'll get those back rolling again. Your points will still transfer, and we'll even try to get more of the guys involved in that so you can use those from place to place. So, that's a great program. That was one of the things we did years ago, and it's been a great deal. Robert in Colorado Springs, you are next. Hello, Robert.
Hello. Yeah, I got a 94 Ford F-250 with an automatic transmission, and the transmission went out. I want to know what you thought about if you can replace it, like from the junkyard or Craigslist, with a used one, or getting it rebuilt, getting one from the manufacturer. I want to know what your opinion is on that.
You could get one from the manufacturer. That's the most expensive route you've got to go. You could also have that unit rebuilt if that's something that's something you want to do. You can actually rebuild the unit you've gotten on a 94. That's not a bad option. Larry's Automotive and Transmission, inside of the Colorado Select Group is a good source for that. Jeff's built plenty of those transmissions. That's definitely one direction you can go. So I would go two ways with that. Either buy a totally remanufactured unit. That's going to be the most expensive way to do it, or have your unit gone through.
What kind of price range are you looking at to have it gone through? And I'm typically just hauling livestock and typically pulling with it.
Honestly, I have no idea. That's one you really probably should call Jeff Kitty at Larry's Automotive this week. Ask him that question. Even though you're in the Springs, he could pretty much tell you what his prices would be. And then, maybe he knows somebody down in the Springs that could help you where you don't have to drive as far. But if not, that one's worth the drive. I know right now Jeff could save you enough money. They've got a 10% off deal going right now if you mention Drive Radio.
Okay.
If you did that, I guarantee you'd save enough money to drive up from the Springs.
You don't happen to have their number, do you?
427. It's 303-427-2108.
All right, 2108. Okay. Do you recommend if you get one, if you rebuild it, do you get a stronger torque converter?
Yes. Yeah. Do all the updates to the transmission. Get the whole thing going that way. That's how I would do it.
Okay. All right. Thanks.
That would be converter, the whole bit.
You bet.
Okay. Yeah. See ya.
All right. Thanks a lot. Appreciate it very much. By the way, is my mic coming through okay, guys? I'm sounding weird to myself. I don't know why. Maybe my ears are. I don't know. Maybe my ears are whacked out. I don't know. Just double checking. Okay.
Yeah.
Make sure
Everything
I'm good
sounds
there.
all right.
All right. Tom in Broomfield, you're next, sir.
Hi there.
Hi.
Hey, at the risk of beating this oil stuff to death.
Don't worry about that. We get questions on it weekly, and there's still a lot of misinformation out in the marketplace. So don't ever feel bad about that.
Okay. So anyways, got a Lexus, and they have the oil monitors on them.
Yes.
Or the oil, whatever they call them.
Yep.
Yeah.
And now I assume that those things are programmed for just a regular base oil.
What year Lexus do you have?
2009.
That's probably actually programmed for synthetic on a 2009.
Yep.
It is.
Yeah, because those are required to have synthetic in those years.
Yep.
Are they? All right.
Yep.
Well, that was basically my question, because it went off when I was gone, and the wife was driving the car, and she got all nervous.
Oh.
I go, you can go another 500 miles.
Yeah,
and it's
you
not gonna
can.
hurt anything.
You
'Cause
can.
I use Mobile One.
That's true.
And a gold filter.
Yep. Those monitors are really accurate, and using the good oil, you won't have any.
Yeah.
Adverse
And they're going off about 4,500 miles, so it's not like it's waiting until 7,000.
Right. It's probably a lot of city driving.
A good 50-50.
Yeah.
Yeah, that car you could run 5,000-6,000 miles on an interval, no problem.
Yeah, it might even be approaching 5. I'd just be a little.
You wouldn't have any problem at all.
Yeah.
Okay, and it calls for a 1030, and you were talking that SFI stuff and all that, and all I do is I just go to the box store and I grab Mobile One 1030. advanced full synthetic.
And in your year of car, that would be fine because that's going to far exceed what they had in 2009.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, you'll be
And then-
fine with that.
And then my truck with 160,000 miles on it, I get the high mileage.
That's fine too. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, and what truck do you have?
A Nissan Titan,
What year?
2004.
Yeah, no, 04. Yeah, and you want full synthetic in that one also, and the high mile, and that's not going to hurt at all. It would work fine.
Okay.
Yeah, that's
Thanks,
a
guys.
good way to do it. Yep, you're in good shape.
Appreciate it.
But, by the way, great questions. There's never, those oil questions, folks. Never feel bad about calling in and asking an oil question. The engine is the life of the vehicle. The oil is the lifeblood of that lifetime component, or what you want to have last the lifetime of the vehicle. Never feel bad about calling in and asking either when I should change, what should I use. I've heard somebody say X. Is that correct or not? So far today, we've had 3 different phone calls, I believe 3, where somebody has said, well, somebody else said to do such and such. My mechanic said X. I don't care what the mechanic said. He was wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Let me make sure I'm clear on this really fast before we take our next break. Your engine does not know the grade or the type of oil that's in it today. So in other words, if it doesn't have synthetic and you put synthetic in it tomorrow, it doesn't know the difference.
Right.
Okay. It literally, there is no memory of what oil was in the engine before versus what's in it today. It doesn't know the difference. What happens, though, is as you use synthetic oil versus the regular oil, the full synthetic oil just gives you that much more protection. It's a higher quality oil. The ad packs are better. Just across the board, it is a better quality oil to use in whatever it is you're using it is. Engine, transmission, differentials. If they had synthetic coolant, I would use it. Now, they don't make such a thing, but you get my drift. If they make it, yes, we use it. Is that the right way to say that, Kim?
Yeah, exactly. And it just doesn't break down. It doesn't lose its ability to lubricate as fast and things like that. So it's able to hold on to that and extend the life.
It's just across the board, it is a better oil. It's the only way to say it. So yeah, those of you out there that maybe you've been using a conventional oil since the engine was new, since the vehicle was new, and all of a sudden your technician says, "Oh no, I can't change that. That's all your vehicle's ever had. It won't know what to do." Yeah, well, it'll be just fine because it doesn't know the difference.
You're right. Exactly.
It's sort of like, maybe I should use this description. It's like all the people that tell you should drink bottled water versus tap water. Do you know there's more regulations on tap water than bottled water?
Makes sense.
Okay.
Yeah.
And now it's kind of a weird analogy as far as the oil goes, but you get my drift. There's so many wives' tales, even inside of our industry, when it comes to synthetic oil. If you've ever got a question, call us, email us, send me that question. I'll get it answered for you even during the week. And that's john@drive-radio.com. Let's take a quick break. We'll be right back. We got a half an hour left. Give us a call. Lines are open, 303-477-5600. John Rush, Ken Rackley, KLZ 560.
Napa Auto Parts. We've been the most trusted name in auto parts for over 80 years. Probably because we've never stopped looking for ways to make the great parts we sell even better. It's a commitment to quality you'll find in every one of our 310,000 parts. From the bacteria-killing surface on our cabin air filters, to the patented damping mechanism on our drive-align belt tensioners, to our revolutionary new Adaptive One brakes. And Napa parts are covered by a warranty that's good at any of our 6,000 Napa Auto Parts stores nationwide. Yeah, maybe you don't get this at your average auto parts store, but at Napa, we've spent the last 80 years making sure we were anything but average. To find the Napa Auto Parts store nearest you, go to NapaOnline.com. Napa, get the good stuff.
With over 125 locations in Colorado, southern Wyoming, and western Nebraska, there's only one place to get the good stuff: Napa Auto Parts.
Top auto manufacturers admit that today's high-tech engines on average can use a quart of oil every 1,000 miles. Why? To meet the government's fuel economy mandates, they use the faster-moving low-tension piston rings that can clog quickly, reducing power, causing poor fuel economy. The Performance Oil Service from BG Products cleans piston rings and restores the fuel system. And it's backed up with lifetime protection for the engine. Ask your service advisor about the BG Performance Oil Service or go to bgfindashop.com. That's bgfindashop.com.
This is Red Merrill for Phoenix Weaponry. Phoenix Weaponry is a weapon manufacturer that services the firearm enthusiast. From precision ARs to suppressors, Phoenix Weaponry can make your dreams come true. Phoenix Weaponry is a full-service gun shop that offers gunsmithing, coating, and modifications to your own weapon. Phoenix Weaponry, family-owned and operated right here in Colorado. If you can dream it, Phoenix Weaponry can build it. Call today, 720-340-2496. Again, that's 720-340-2496. Or visit their website, phoenixweaponry.com. Mention Sportsman of Colorado and receive 10% off your custom-built weapon.
John Rush, want to talk to you about Lone Tree Veterinarian Medical Center. Their motto, we believe that all pets deserve to have a good life. They do complete pet care services every day, all at one location. In other words, they are open every single day of the week. That includes the holidays. Their normal office hours are Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. to 8 p.m., Saturday, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m., and Sunday, 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. And last week we learned that they do grooming, okay, of cats or dogs. They will groom them. They've got a full grooming center on site. I've been there. I've seen it. Again, this is a fantastic facility with you, not only you, the customer, in mind, but also your pet, who really ultimately is their customer. They have your pet in mind. Preventative care and illness, advanced dentistry, a complete diagnostics lab, digital x-rays, ultrasounds, you name it, they've got it, including swim therapy in case your dog or cats don't swim typically, but in case your dog needs some therapy, they can actually take care of that also. The phone number is 303
10 seconds
708 8050, Lone Tree Veterinarian Medical Center. Be sure you tell them that John Rush from Drive Radio sent you.
350.
Here we go. We're trying to figure out all the differences in small block Chevys.
Yeah.
We were just looking at how long small block Chevys existed. So started in 55 and ran all the way to 2003 before the new generation came out, the next generation.
Yeah.
It's a long stinking time for an engine.
There were a few changes in there, but nothing
super significant.
major.
One
Right.
piece seals, some things like that.
Right, exactly. More block configuration. not,
Same basic design all those years.
Yeah.
Pretty amazing. 303-477-5600 is our phone number. Chris, you're next. What's going on, sir?
I heard you mention that you drove the new Dodge Rebel and the new Ford pickup.
I did.
And which ones did you, the highlights of both of them?
The Rebel truck on the Ram side of the fence, actually here in Colorado, the press association that was up there actually voted that the truck of the event. They really like the way that truck works. So that truck's got full air suspension. It will lower going down the road for better fuel economy. It'll raise going off-road for using it in the off-road side of the fence. The interior features are phenomenal. I tell you right now, Ram is doing a fantastic job on all fronts on their vehicles, whether it be in the half-ton versions or the full three-quarter-ton versions with the 6.4 engines or the full 6.7 Cummins. It's a tough truck to beat for the amount of options you get for the price. Ram right now, I think, is the leader. Now, that doesn't take away anything from the Chevy or the Ford. I mean, the F-150 was a really nice truck also. But if you're looking for the off-road side of the fence, the problem with the Raptor, and I love that truck, by the way. The Raptor is a great vehicle. It's just really expensive for what you're getting. The Ram, that Ram that I drove, that truck worked extremely well. And let me see if I can get the actual window sticker on that for you real quick. Hang on. Let me see if I can find my notes on that. If I can get to it, hold tight here. Let me see if I can find my. It was in an email. Hang on one second here. Any other questions while I'm looking this up?
I was just wondering, how did it compare to the EcoBoost and that type of stuff?
The EcoBoost works really well. And I rode around with the Ford rep. So really, even coming out of the horse's mouth, what the Ford rep told me is if you're driving the Ford, if you're driving the F-150 empty the majority of the time, the EcoBoost is a great way to go. Fuel economy is going to be well. It's going to work fine. At our elevation, it's a good power source. It works great. It doesn't drop off as much because of the turbocharger on it. But if you're going to tow a lot, go with the V8 option because the V6 with the EcoBoost will have about the same fuel economy as what the V8 will have.
Was it the Ford that you have? Did it have the 2.7 or did it have
Had the 3.5?
3.5?
Has a 3.5 in it.
And I also heard that you cannot get 373 gears in the Ford pickup anymore because they're trying to get the mileage up.
I think that's correct in that. I think they're 342s. Don't quote me in that. But, you know, the difference in price, for example, that Rebel, so that Ram Rebel is got a retail sticker price of $52,375. And if I'm not mistaken, the Raptors, you're going to be in the 60s on a Raptor easily.
Okay.
So you're less money on the Rebel than you are the Raptor. Now, some are going to say the Raptor will do more. It's got more capabilities and so on. Well, maybe. I'd have to go out, you know, if it were somebody that was, you know, somebody interested in both trucks, you need to go drive both and you make the decision. The Rebel's got a lot to offer.
Okay, and as far as the new sheet metal work on the new Fords, is that comfortable or?
The sheet metal work on the new F-150 is all aluminum, all the way around. Not that that's a problem, but as things progress and you've got dings and dents, you're going to have to find a collision center that understands how to work with the aluminum. That's not a deal killer, would not be for me personally, but it does, you know, initially it's going to limit who works on that truck until they get certified to work on that aluminum.
You know, and I've always had a problem with the higher gear ratio, especially when you get in the mountains, and even if you do have turbo, you still lag.
You do. You know, you're right. No, I am like you. I'm a guy that believes in the rear axle ratio being a very key component, and the Ram, for example, has a 392.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Well, thank you very much.
So there's some of those answers, and here's something else that'll kind of get you. I was averaging just driving on the highway in that Ram Rebel 20 miles to the gallon.
Nice.
It's not bad for a full size V8 truck.
Right. Yeah.
20 miles to the gallon.
Exactly.
Not bad at all.
Nope.
There's nothing to, that's nothing to shake a stick at. That's a pretty good deal right there.
Right. Exactly.
Barney and Erie, you're next, sir.
Hey, how's it going?
Doing good, sir.
My question is, I've got a 2015 Dodge 3500.
Okay.
Diesel and the Aisin transmission.
Oh, good for you.
And I've heard you guys talk about I guess you'd call them the oil sensor.
Yes.
Tells you when to change oil and
yes.
stuff.
That your truck's a 15,000 mile oil change interval truck, correct?
Right.
Yeah.
And
just go off that.
And that's what I was wondering. I've got 9,500 miles on it.
Okay.
And it still says I've got 32% left on the fuel filter and the oil filter.
It shows you how accurate it is.
And I've just never gone that long.
Yep, that truck is designed for that. In fact, I talked to one of the reps. Again, we had dinner with the. I was fortunate enough to actually sit at the same table. Had dinner with all of the Ram, Chrysler, all those guys were at the same table, and I was fortunate enough to just plop down and sit there next to all of them, and got a lot of information on the Ram truck side of the fence. And yeah, that particular truck, it is designed for 15,000 mile oil interchange intervals.
Wow.
How do you like that truck? I'm thinking about buying one of those trucks. How do you like that truck? Does it run well, drive well, everything?
Yeah, I love it. I love it. It's
that's the higher, and you probably know this, but that's the higher horsepower version of that truck.
Right. And I took it down to Phoenix, just not towing anything, driving 80, 85, and did about 17, 18 miles per gallon.
Good for you.
Yeah.
And then coming back, it was about a mile less, but.
Do you have you got the rear air suspension in that truck also, the air assist?
No, I didn't.
You didn't get that. Okay.
No. Now, one thing I was going to, when I go to change oil, I was going to use the Shell Rotella T6.
Okay.
And is that, I think they recommend
you'll be fine. You'll be fine with that. Yeah, that's a good product for a Cummins.
Now, they called for a 1540 in the oil.
Yes.
The only thing you can get is a 540 in synthetic. Is that a problem?
If they're calling for 1540, I would try to find 1540.
Yeah.
And the only diesel oil I could find was 1540 was AMSOIL.
In a synthetic?
In a synthetic?
Yeah.
That's not there's other companies making a full synthetic 1540, but I run it in my fleet trucks right now. You can buy it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I buy it from our bulk supplier, which you can't buy it from Universal Oils, where I buy ours from, but you can buy a full synthetic 1540 weight oil.
Well, I'll look and see if I can find some.
Yeah, it's out there. Trust me. I don't know if Napa, Ken's looking right now to see if Napa even carries it. Have you been to a Napa store and asked them?
No, I used to buy my AMSOIL from a Napa store in Longmont.
Okay.
And so I thought, well, the Shell, they recommend Shell in the manual. And I thought, well, they have the Shell Rotella. And then I called the dealer, and he said that's what they're going to start shipping them with. But I didn't know if it was
It's
a problem.
probably true. They probably will. What I'm surprised at is that you can't find Rotella T in a 1540. That doesn't make sense that you're not finding that.
You can find it, the 5T, for T5, you can find it, but it's a semi-synthetic.
Okay, you're not finding full synthetic.
Yeah.
Got it. And I like you. I would run the full synthetic in it. That's what we do. That's what I would do. And if it ends up being Amsoil for now until somebody else comes up with it, then Amsoil it is. But I'm buying it from other sources. You should be able to also.
Okay. Well, I'll just try the Napa store and see what they can come up with.
Yeah, exactly. That's the first place I would start. That's a great truck. I mean, that's one of those. I'm about ready to pull the trigger on ordering one of those. I just haven't quite got to that. I don't know what I'm waiting. My biggest decision, I'm trying to decide whether to buy a Ram box or not. That's my stupid decision I'm trying to make.
The Ram box?
Yeah, it's got the side compartments built into the bed.
Yeah.
That's the decision I'm trying to make. Outside of that, I know what truck I want. I just can't decide whether I want a Ram box or not.
I took this one. I've got a boat that weighs about 4,000 pounds.
Okay.
It's a pontoon boat, but it's kind of draggy. And I took it to Lake of the Ozarks and back. And, of course, it did really well towing that. And then I've got a 36-foot fifth wheel, that toy hauler.
Got it.
And it just works great. It's just really happy with the way it tows stuff.
Yeah, that truck. As I keep saying, those trucks work great. So, the other one you might check too that I know probably makes a 1540 synthetic is Royal Purple. You could check them also.
Is that a pretty good oil?
Yeah, it is.
Okay.
Yeah, not. I mean, as long as it meets all the SFI specs, any of them will work fine.
Okay.
Okay,
I'll look into that.
All right, appreciate it very
Okay,
much,
well,
Barney.
appreciate
Thanks for
your help.
thanks for the phone call. I appreciate it very much. Let's go to Paul, who's next in Denver. Paul, welcome.
Morning.
Morning.
How are we doing, sir?
Pretty good. I'm trying to find out what kind of fuel additives was used for a diesel.
What are you looking to do?
I'm just trying to see if I need to add any. I use the Antigel in the wintertime. I just was wondering if I need to do anything else during the summertime.
Anti-gel in the wintertime works great. If you want to do anything in the summertime, and again, BG is a great sponsor of ours. They've got plenty of actual diesel additives, diesel fuel additives. What I would do is, pop onto their website. It's BGProd, BGPROD.com. So go to BG's website, look at all the different products they've got. They've got everything from injector cleaners to just maintenance things to cetane boosters. You name it, they've got it, and they are a fantastic company with great products.
Yeah, I know you guys already talking about the old BG products.
Yep, they work great.
My 2001 F-250, the one who's got like 93,000 miles on it right now.
Okay. They make, for example, they've got one product. It's part number 232. It's a DFC Plus HP. That's a great, it's a great decarboning additive that they've got for the diesels. And again, that's just one of about. You go to their diesel page, they've got about, I don't know,
too many,
12 different products you can use there.
Yeah.
Okay, I appreciate it.
You're very welcome.
You guys
I
have a
appreciate
good
that.
afternoon.
You do
Hey,
the
where's
same.
Donnie today?
What's that?
Where's Donnie?
Donnie hasn't been with us for about almost 2 years now.
Okay, you guys. Okay, I know you guys. I used to listen to you on the other stations.
Got it. No, we've been here since 2008, and Donnie's still around. Still see him every now
Yeah,
and
no,
then.
I see him. I know he's still got his stores on
Yep.
Harlan. So.
Yep.
Okay. Have
All
a good
right.
afternoon.
Thanks, Paul. Appreciate
Bye.
it very much. Thanks for your phone call. Have a great weekend. With that, let's take a quick break. We'll come back. We'll finish out this last little segment of Drive Radio. Scott Watley will join us, talk about what's coming up on Sportsman of Colorado, and we'll be back right after this. Don't go away. John Rush, Ken Rackley, Drive Radio, KLZ 560.
Consider the ramifications of just one of your fleet vehicles breaking down. You get the phone calls, an angry customer due to a missed appointment, a schedule thrown into chaos, work not completed, a hit to your reputation, lost sales, maybe a lost customer, and a bad review. You get to deal with all of it. At Tilden, they know that your vehicles are your business. Without them, your reputation, your cash flow, your day, and maybe your sanity are all on the line. Tilden uses state-of-the-art software to monitor each vehicle in your fleet. They'll set up a schedule to avoid costly repairs by taking care of problems while there's still minor maintenance issues. Protect your profits, minimize downtime, and sleep better. Call Tilden today and join the many fleets, large and small, who know that the fleet is handled. That's Fleet Maintenance from Tilden. Call 303-797-7977. 303-797-7977. Tilden Total Car Care, helping as many people as they can as fast as they can. Federal in Bellevue and Englewood, and 6th and Peoria in Aurora.
How stressful. You hear a noise, see a fluid leak, feel something funny, a little light comes on your dash, or your car totally breaks down, and you have no idea what it means, what to do, or how to fix it. With how much we depend on our cars to go about our daily lives, you'd think they'd teach us this stuff in school. Luckily for you, you have us. At Community Auto, we're serious about what we do, and we're darn good at it. Having served Fort Collins and Northern Colorado for over 20 years, our family-owned and operated AAA-approved shop has family that extends far beyond our garage doors. At Community Auto, we put the emphasis on care, not just auto repair. Ladies, ever felt intimidated going into an auto repair shop? Scared you'll be taken advantage of? Our female staff is friendly, knowledgeable, and will thoroughly explain and educate you on what's going on with your car. You'll be in the know and in turn be taken care of. Because at Community Auto, we know that a happy car will get you far.
We've all been there. You're under the hood and suddenly realize you don't have the parts you need. Or even worse, you don't know what parts you need. Well, at Napa Auto Parts, we have ASE certified parts specialists that'll make sure you find that right part. One covered by a warranty good at any one of 6,000 Napa locations. Yeah, finding the right part might not be easy, but fortunately, finding the right part store is. Go to NapaOnline.com for the location nearest you. Napa, get the good stuff.
Have you ever been ripped off by an auto shop? Chances are you have at least felt like you were, and as a technician myself, I get it. So how do you know who to trust? The answer is to always choose a Colorado Select Auto Care Center. Colorado Select is a hand-picked group of independent shops who all adhere to the highest standards of customer service. They use ASE-certified master technicians who all offer at least a 3-year, 36,000-mile warranty on repairs, far exceeding most dealerships. Find a shop nearest you at coloradoselect.com. In Englewood, trust Tilden Total Car Care, just north of Bellevue on South Federal, where life is about helping as many people as you can, as fast as you can. Call.
Do you want him now? 797. Okay.
77.
If you ever want to see all the oxygen leave the room, tell somebody their transmission is bad. Transmissions are the repair most drivers fear most because they are the most misunderstood. Nobody understands transmissions better than Larry's Automotive and Transmission. They are the driveline pros, and they can take the fear and mystery out of transmission repair. Transmissions don't just go bad overnight. There are warning signs. Difficulty shifting or hesitation, for instance. Ignore those signs and you'll be looking at a big, scary estimate. Take it to Larry's at the first sign that something is wrong, and your repairs will most likely be minor. The only way to know for sure is to call Larry's Automotive and Transmission right away at 303-427-2108. 303-427-2108. They are ATRA
10 seconds.
Plus with the BBB. Larry's Automotive and Transmission. The Driveline Pros. Recommended by John Rush.
John Rush Drive Radio, KLZ 560. Ken Rackley with me from TuneTech. Scott Watley from Sportsman of Colorado just joining us, and we can take a couple more calls if you want. 303-477-5600 is our phone number. So I was talking about you yesterday, Scott. I don't know whether you heard me or not, but I had a little meeting up in Evergreen yesterday with Genesis Construction. So I'm riding up the hill, and on my way back, I'm coming down I-70 and coming to the station, and I'm tooling along, and all of a sudden I look over to my left, and I'm in the middle lane, and there's a guy in the left lane with an F-250 hauling a horse trailer, and I see these antlers, sticking up out of the back of the bed, and I thought, man, there's a guy that's been successful. Well, I'm looking a little closer, and man, this guy, I tell you what, this is the most optimistic hunter I've ever seen in my entire life, because in between the antlers in the bed of this truck is a freezer. that he must have had plugged into the inverter
Sure.
or something on the truck. And I'm thinking, man, now there's a guy takes his freezer with him, figuring he's going to have meat to bring home. That's an optimistic hunter.
You know, and you see more and more guys doing that actually. Yeah, where they're taking the big. Well,
he
you
had,
buy,
he
you,
had the chest in the back of the truck.
you can buy a freezer cheaper than a Yeti cooler.
Right.
Just about.
True.
Yeah.
You can actually.
And but no, a lot of guys are doing that now. Well, I mean, and we were just up hunting this last week, and I mean in Walden, and I mean it was 80 degrees.
Yeah.
And if you don't have a place to get that meat pretty quick, you know,
You
it
gotta
can
go off the
ruin
mountain
on
real
you.
quick,
Yeah.
yeah.
So so yeah, it's a pretty good deal. But yeah, the weather's changing now a little bit, and they're seeing a lot of elk. So we were just a week early.
Did you do any good?
I got a bear, but I didn't get an elk. Yeah.
A bear?
Yeah, I did get a black bear.
Okay.
And so that was cool. That was my
Better to get the bear than the bear get you.
Exactly. From the two animals I was hunting, I was in a good position. And yeah, there's a lot of bears up in that Walden area. And yeah, so that was cool. That was my first
Good.
bear. So,
Good. So what's coming up on Sportsman Colorado?
today we've got our gentleman from Hunt the Racket. Again, this is a new sponsor with us, and they are about 3.5 hour drive from Denver, and do a lot of upland
Nebraska, right?
Yeah, upland bird hunting, and along with turkey and deer. And so we're going to be getting into a lot of different offers that they have for us. And then Brad Haddocks, A Lasting Memory Taxidermy, is going to be here talking about taking care of animals. You know, when you're out in the field and how to make sure you bring it back so the taxidermist has something to work with. And so many people just don't handle it properly out in the
Yeah,
field.
they ruin
And
it to
so,
where it's
yeah,
not even usable.
exactly. So we'll be talking about that a little bit. Then Kevin Flesh, about a month or so ago, went with our sponsors out in Alaska and went on a trip. So he's got his twin daughters with him. So we're going to hear about their trip
Awesome.
out in Alaska. So
Awesome.
looking forward to that.
Yeah, it sounds like a good show. It'll be fun.
Yes, sir. Absolutely. Looking
So
forward to
did
it.
you guys have a good time ultimately?
You know, it did. I mean, it was beautiful. I mean, the leaves are changing up there. So, I mean, it was gorgeous. I mean, absolutely gorgeous. And, but man, you want to hear those elk bugle in the mornings.
I didn't hear any when I was up there this last
I mean,
week.
they just weren't talking at all. And so, but it takes a lot for that to go on, the rut to get going, and a lot of different factors have to go into that. But yeah, it's a great place. And QRS Outdoor Specialties, Quentin Smith, they're our outfitter that we hunt with there. And there's a ton of animals there. You know, you just got to find them. You know?
Yeah.
And that's why they call it hunting.
Yeah, no, you're exactly right. Okay, so one other thing that Larry gave me, which I thought this is definitely worth talking about. Those of you out there that are buying new vehicles, in fact, even our last caller, depending upon how he equipped that particular truck on that big Dodge or big Ram, I shouldn't call it a Dodge. That's a bad habit, I know. They're Ram trucks now. So even a Ram truck, you can have keyless entry. Now, it's not just keyless entry, it's you don't even need a key to start. So it's push button start. So keyless entry with push button start. Now, for those of you that may have those vehicles, be careful and make sure you shut the vehicle off before you exit the vehicle. And what I mean by that is shut it all the way off, because in some vehicles, you can actually exit the vehicle, have it in the accessory position, and believe it or not, depending upon what's going on with the vehicle, it could actually restart. And if that's inside of your garage or something along those lines and it continues to run, you could have carbon monoxide buildup, things along those lines. And it's becoming somewhat of a problem for people that aren't paying attention when they climb out of the vehicle. So it's something that you really need to be aware of when you get out of the vehicle. Make sure that everything is totally shut off. And I'll tell you right now, as somebody that drives a new vehicle literally every single week, some are push button starts, some are not. I can tell you right now that as I exit, I really have to pay attention. Are all the lights on the dash off? Is everything shut off? Because even myself, I've actually come back outside, hour later and noticed, oh, I left this thing on.
Huh.
So even being a car guy, okay, it can happen because you think you've exited and everything is shut off because, some of the new cars you get out and the lights come on and things are dinging. And so you just kind of climb out and you don't really worry about it.
Quiet.
And
they're
quiet.
They're running quiet.
You're right.
And in my case, when I park in the garage, I leave the fob, and I'm always been, from the old dealership days, you always left the keys in the vehicle if it was inside. Because if there's ever a fire, you want to get the vehicle out as quickly as you can. So I never take the keys into the house if it's in the garage. I figure, you know what? Somebody's getting in my garage and they want the car. It's insured. More power to them. Have fun. Turn it on and go for it. If it means that much to you, have at it. It's
You're
yours.
right,
They're making
exactly.
another one tomorrow off the assembly line. Big deal. Okay, the insurance company's going to handle it. Off it goes. So I've never been a one to carry the keys inside. So in turn, if that car is not completely shut off and the fob's inside of it, if you've left it in the accessory position, according to this article that Larry gave me, and he's right, in some cases that vehicle could restart inside of the garage, keep itself running because the batteries drop down, things along those lines. So be careful if you've got not just a keyless entry, but a push button start vehicle.
Huh.
Makes sense?
Yeah, makes total sense. Yeah.
Hey, you guys were talking about transmission.
Yes.
So I clicked on my Silverado suit. Mine's running like 198 degrees for transmission fluid. Is that
That's
about
fine?
Yeah, that's right where that's warmed up.
Because that was one thing I didn't even know what it should be. What range?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, you want to try to keep. That's a great question, especially for guys that are some of you guys that are going to be listening. That are listening now that are going to be crossing over to Sportsman of Colorado. Those of you guys that are going to be hauling things, in Scott's case, he's got a 1500. Yeah, freezers help me.
Yeah, exactly.
Scott's got a 1500, but you get that thing loaded up, and believe it or not, the temps can start to climb on the tranny, especially when you're pulling our heavy passes when the temperatures may be 80 degrees outside.
Sure.
Even going up, coming back from hunting,
Yeah.
could come up to that. You want to keep that tranny temp really 275 and under, but really you don't want to see it climb over 300 degrees if at all possible.
Oh, okay, great. Yeah.
So keep it under that. You'll be safe. You won't have any
And
problems.
we're going to do a show on this because past a lot of trailers, guys pulling things were probably wheel bearings, bad tires on them because they park them.
Yeah.
Don't use them for 6-8 months a year, and all of a sudden they back it up and hook it on. And boy, that's
in one way, guys, and this is easy. You don't even have to spend a lot of money to do this. If you're somebody that's got a trailer, you're parking it at home or you're parking in a storage facility and it's just going to sit, get some white trash bags. You don't have to go spend. If you want to spend money on expensive covers for the tires, go for it. Spend the money. But white trash bags work fine. Put a trash bag on each tire, tie it off, use some zip ties, get around the bottom, tie it off with some zip ties or mechanics wire or whatever you want to use, and cover those tires up, and it'll keep that dry rot from happening because the sun is what beats down the ultraviolet rays is what ruins the rubber on the tires.
Okay.
Yeah.
All white trash. And the reason I say white is because the trash, the black ones build up heat and don't last as long. The white ones just last that much longer because they reflect the heat. Now, they make fancy covers and Camping World and all these places have them, and you can use them. And if you want to spend the money, go for it. But cheap white trash bags work just as fine.
Boy, that's good news.
Yeah.
And they're cheap for a roll.
Right.
And it almost seems like with trailers, if they're more than 3-4 years old, it's, no matter what the tread looks like, that tread comes off really fast when you're on the road.
Run it to one of your shops to get your vehicle checked out.
Thank you.
Before you hit the
That's right.
road.
That's exactly
It
right.
may be looking good to you, but boy,
You're right.
just to come over and spend a few bucks, get it checked out before you hit the road's a good idea.
Speaking of trailer tires, also one quick thing I'm going to end with this. A lot of you guys out there that have trailers, and some of you may or may not know this, and a lot of tire stores will push you one direction or another. Very few tire stores will sell you trailer specific tires. Most of them want to sell you just a regular, light, an LT type tire for your trailer. You need, especially on the heavier trailers, you want to run regular trailer tires. They are built for towing. They've got a different sidewall structure. So when you're making those corners and you're trying to go a 90-degree lateral on those particular tires, they don't break the belts. They last longer. You want to use an actual trailer tire. All right, we're going to get out of here. Ken Rackley from TuneTech, thanks.
Always great to be here.
It's always been a blast. Yep. It's always fun having Ken here. Really appreciate it. His shop right out on Colfax, TuneTech Automotive, right off of 225. Larry Younger from Larry's Automotive. Him and Jeff, thanks so much for all you guys do for the weekday and the weekends. Larry, you're a great guy. I really appreciate it very much. And Mindy McNeil, our engineer. You guys have a great afternoon. Everybody enjoy. I'll be back here on Monday, Rush to Reason, 3 o'clock in the afternoon. God bless. Sportsman of Colorado is next, right here on KLZ 560.
Still haven't had enough? Go to drive-radio.com. Email your questions and comments. Download previous programs and find lots of useful information, including your nearest Colorado Select Auto Care Center. That's drive-radio.com.